Alright guys, so let's go ahead and GCP load balancing. We're going to talk about that, and just like the format of Azure and AWS, we went for auto scaling in AWS, scale set in Azure, and then we went for load balancing of EC2 instances in AWS and load balancing in Azure for virtual machines. And here we're going for ComputeEngine instances uh, for Google Cloud Platform as well. So how it is done here, and especially with Linux that we're stuck. Well, I should stop saying stuck because we should go more towards Linux and try to really. Okay, guys. So GCP load balancing. What is it, and how to do it, and what are the scripts there? If there are any scripts to configure it, let's get going, and then go for the rest of the ComputeEngine topics as well. Although this load balancing used to be the topic in AWS in the EC2 instance dashboard, the virtual machine dashboard, right? And also in virtual machine in Azure. But here it's load balancing is a topic in the network area in Google Cloud Platform, right? So because of our previous courses, we were doing that when we were talking about virtual machines. So that's why I added it here. Otherwise, it's supposed to be inside the network as a separate topic. Okay, so I'll just log and in here and refresh everything. So we need to just log in from console.cloud.google.com and make sure that it is that Google Identity Service username, admin at whatever your custom domain name from your custom domain name. That's it. So where it is from. Let's go ahead. So I'll go to the navigation menu here, and then go down to the ComputeEngine, and here. Now we talked about last time. I lost that video actually. The last time what I did, and last 15 minutes were just saved. So last time we just deployed a Linux machine, ComputeEngine, and then so I'm gonna try to recover that or put that information here as well. The first thing here, what is load balancing? And obviously the load balancing we already talked about before as well, and you would know as well that it is balancing the traffic that is coming from different directions over the internet to your virtual machines. I'm going to go down to, in fact, I'm going to go to the navigation menu here, right? And I'll go down to here, way down here. It's networking services, right? And there's a load balancing here. So yes, it rightly should be here. Load balancing topic is actually a network topic, but what if you need to do load balancing of virtual machines? It's not what if, that's what you do. That's what you use it for virtual machines, right? So that's since it's a big virtual machine topic as well. So if I go down, way down to under the networking category and then network services, then you can see load balancing here. Network services, load balancing, right? So I'm just going to click that load balancing here, and then here is load balancers distribute incoming network traffic across multiple VM instances to help your application scale. So I'm just going to click that, learn more here. What about the Google Cloud Platform? How does that handle load balancing? Just like AWS, just like Azure, exactly all these concepts are same. Cloud load balancing allows you to put your resources behind a single IP address. So we're going to test that today. That is externally accessible or internal to your VPC, right? So so we're talking about cloud load balancing, and in that it's guides and concepts and references and sources. So this is the full page for end-to-end training and tutorials on actually Quick Labs. Now Quick Labs is a very cool resource. Obviously it's paid resource where you can do step-by-step many advanced concepts related lab as well, but the thing is that you just have to purchase the lab time, and then you're given a document, step-by-step document, and the whole lab is available for you to do that. Obviously you won't get any errors there because you won't be able to do some wrong steps. So it's always good that if you are on an open environment where if you do an error, if you do a mistake, then there should be an error there, right? Because if there's pre-planned labs, they won't have any errors. So when you're actually doing that in a real environment, but the concepts are clear, so that's why Quick Labs are very, very good as well. So I'm going to go up there. So this page I'll just copy there as well. Gcp Load Balancing doc. So and I'll put it there as well, and on WhatsApp. Okay, and here. So let's keep going, and I'll go for the concepts here, and this is a choosing a load balancer. So what types of load balancer Google Cloud Platform has to offer? We've already gone for AWS and Azure. So pretty much it's always network load balancer, application load balancer, and TCP load balancer. So choosing a load balancer, so to decide which load balancer best suits your app implementation of Google Cloud, consider the following aspects of cloud load balancing: global versus regional load balancing, external versus internal load balancing, and then what kind of traffic are you expecting. And then they give a flowchart there that how the traffic is coming from external source. It could be IPv6 client, IPv4 client, and internet to GCP. It's showing there. Is it HTTP or HTTPS traffic? Is it TCP traffic, right? Or is it UDP traffic? So TCP would be anything other than HTTP, HTTPS, right? So suppose you have 1433 traffic, which is for database. You have file server traffic there, or file transfer protocol, FTP or SFTP, right? So any other traffic other than HTTP, HTTPS, it is TCP traffic. And then there's SSL offload, global LB, or IPv6, and then preserve client IP. So these all we'll be talking about as soon as we configure it. So, and then there is internal. Suppose you have your own internal VPC. Here also the private network that you create with private IPs is also called VPC. VNet in Azure, VPC in AWS is VPC here in Google Cloud as well. So internal would be that within the VPC you're trying to create a traffic, and is it TCP traffic, is it UDP traffic, is it HTTP, HTTPS traffic. So, and then you can have internal load balancers and external load balancers. So it goes on. Geographic control over where TLS is terminated, which is transport layer security, which is it's going to encrypt your data while it is in transit. It's moving, right? So summary of Google Cloud load balancers, and then they say that load balancer types are external HTTPS load balancers, internal HTTPS load balancers, SSL proxy, TCP, external networking. It goes on. Internal. So when we say external and internal, what does that mean? So obviously it would be a straightforward thing that from internet it is coming, so it's external internet, and from internet traffic. This is what we're going to test today as well, and what we tested in AWS and Azure. So internet to your GCP instances, so VM1 and VM2, and there has to be an LB load balancer, and there should be a public IP pip, right? So PIP is public IP. So that public IP would be given to all the users, or actually a DNS name. So over the internet, they will just click that DNS name. It will come to the load balancer, and then it will start distributing the traffic according to what? So it would be, what is that called in DNS? Round robin, right? So it could just equally I'll distribute the traffic round robin, or it could go for, there are persistent connections there as well. So we're going to talk about that, persistent sessions. So, but overall, this is internet and that is external. Otherwise, if you have internal load balancer as well, so this is your VPC that is connected to internet, and then there's a VPC that is internal, which means that it is behind the internet. So the first VPC one is this, and then there's a VPC 2 as well, and this would be your internal LB then, internal. And then that would have also, your virtual machines here. So you want internal VMs, you want external VMs, so it depends on that, internal load balancer or external load balancer. And even maybe behind that there would be a VPC3. Suppose you want to create that, or even within VPC you created subnet 1 here, S1, and then there's a subnet 2, and that has actually 200 virtual machines, right? 200 VMs, and some of them are part of the load balancers as well, and you create yet another internal LB there as well, between subnet 1, subnet 2, between VPCs, or from external to internal. So however you want to create that, this is exactly the same how you can do that in AWS and Azure as well. So that's the same concept being repeated here as well. If I try to make a copy of that, which I can't. Alright, so I'll just, since it's recorded, so okay. Now this whole diagram is to explain that there are external and internal, and okay, so Chintan says in the chat, intranet consider as internal here. Intranet, yes, if the site is only for the employees, or it is supposed to be accessed within the company, or extranet, or between the two private networks. So yes, it can be considered as intranet as well, and intranet traffic can be load balanced as well. Yes, it is on port 80, it could be on port 4433. So yes, intranet traffic can be considered as internal traffic as well, but it is HTTP traffic, right? Suppose it's coming to an internal application, and that may not be intranet. Suppose that application is for outside users as well as inside users. So intranet is normally specifically only for internal users, but that application could be, so you're connecting from one load balancer, then in one VPC, then you connect to another VPC, another load balancer, and that still is an outside user connecting to an internal application. So then it would not be called intranet necessarily, but it can be intranet as well, yes, where you can use the load balancer. Okay, so other than that, what we are going to go for is our own configuration of load balancer here within this Google Cloud platform environment. And for that we need to, so I'm just going to click back here on the documentation, external HTTPS, internal HTTPS, external TCP UDP, internal TCP UDP. So TCP UDP would be, if it is not HTTP port 80 traffic or port 443 traffic, then it would be any other port, which is, again, we talked about it before, file server. It could be databases, so it could be all those ports other than port 80 and 443. So then it would be considered TCP. Okay, so now what's the plan here? The plan is we're going to configure a load balancer, and that load balancer would be giving access or load balancing traffic for an instance group. So last class we created an instance group where we can have multiple instances, minimum 2, minimum 3 instances, right? We always had 2. So if it can distribute traffic between 2, it will distribute between 2000 as well, right? So we're going to be creating an instance group. So yes, we could create instances separately one by one as well, which we did in AWS and Azure, and we can create an instance group as well and tell it, hey, create 2 instances with Webserver inside, Apache Webserver inside, and please put a page there that would show that which server are we on, right? So we're going to be installing Apache Webserver inside, because we have to use Linux. I don't want to say stuck with Linux, so Linux, we should have a great respect for Linux. Okay, although I'm a full Windows administrator and all those advanced applications there and cloud, but I have been, but I really seriously want to go very in depth with Linux, and I'm trying. Okay, so Apache Web Server we're going to do, well, this is going to be installed with a script. We're not going to be going click, click, click and put the commands. One script will just do it in one go. So Apache Web Server will be installed here, and then we need to have the first web page showing the current VM name, right? So the first web page should be showing a current VM name. So that would be very interesting. So let me just put it here. Apache Web Server, Apache, which is a web server. It's not, yeah. Nginx is also a web server, right? Okay, so and the first web page. So these 2 things are needed. How do we do that and what is the image that we're going to use? What is the Linux image that we're going to use? We can use the Debian, the default one. So Debian Linux image we will use will be used for both VMs or EC. Okay, so these are the requirements for Windows. Also in AWS and Azure we use the Windows machines, and there we used script to install web server and used a script to create the first pages to show the current machine name, right? So there also we used a script, and here also we're going to use a script. How we use here is going to be very interesting. So instance group, first of all, intense. Okay, yeah, it's not going to be that intense, but it's instance. Okay, instance group. Okay, so we're going to create an instance group of 2 or 3 or 10 or 20, it's up to you, but with the free tier we can only go up to maximum of 8 instances. So here we're going to just go for 2, and we can also go for multi-zone, multi-AZs, right? Like one instance in one AZ, another instance another AZ, but in that case we will have to create separately one by one instance. So but we understand that load balancers in other cloud services platform also support multi-availability zone virtual machine load balancing. They always support that. So this load balancer also obviously support, if your virtual machine is in one availability zone, one virtual machine, and in another availability zone, another virtual machine, load balancer normally just load balances the traffic in that way as well. Maybe there's a few hundred kilometers of different distance between the two, but it depends on how good the network in between them is. Okay, so this would be done then once we have created the instance group. And how does the instance group get created? It requires the instance template, right? So we did all that in last class, instance template, but then how to create instance group and how to create instance template, once we repeat that. So the video that I lost last time, those lab we're still doing here as well, so that would be good. Okay, so instance template has to be created, and the instance template, whatever configurations are there, we're gonna take those two. So why are we choosing instance group? To create two instances. Why are we choosing instance template? Because instance group normally requires that if there's a template, out of this it's going to create two clones and install Apache web server inside as well. So the whole task will be now as create instance group with minimum, and tell it minimum we need two instances. Second thing is um, well, instance, and it will be created from an instance template, and it will be created from instance template, and then we will install Apache web server and configure its first web pages on both VMs to show server name, machine name, and that's it. Then create a load balancer and attach the two instances to it, right? So major steps are these that we need to do. So let's go with those major steps step by step, and I'll just put it here as well. So GCP LD lab. Alright, so let us do the first thing, create instance group with minimum two instances. And yes, so we actually how do we install that Apache server? So there will be a startup script that is called startup script. So create instance group with two minimum servers. It will be created from an instance template. We will install Apache server. How? With the help of a startup script. What is a startup script? Startup script is going to be a script that will be copied at the creation of a instance group, and what it does is once the virtual machines are deployed, then this script is deployed. Once the operating system, the images are installed and ready and started, then this script is launched. That script does whatever you tell it to do. So we're going to tell it to install Apache server and start the services of Apache web server. And also, yeah, just change the first page to show the name of the virtual machines. So there will be a startup script. With the help of a startup script, we will install Apache web server. Alright, so let us go ahead and try to implement it. Alright, okay, so I'm going to go back to this, and we're going to log into Google Cloud Platform. We're not going directly to the load balancer yet, although you want to start from load balancer. Yes, you can do that. If you want to start from ComputeEngine, you can do that too. I'm going to go to the ComputeEngine, and so ComputeEngine, we have instances, and so once we are inside the VM instances, we don't need the VM instances. We can create one by one as well. That's going to be a longer step. We have done that in Azure and AWS already. Let's go down to a more automated way. So I'm going to go down to instance groups, right? So last time also we created the instance groups to understand what it is. Now we're going to use it to actually configure load balancer, GCP load balancer. So once you're in the instance group area, so it is going to, now remember last time in the last class, we first went, in order to create an instance group, we first went and created an instance template up there, this one. But I'm going to show you that when you are creating an instance group, during the creation of instance group, we can also create a instance template. So we're going to do that. Instead of, we can create before as well instance template, or we can create during the creation of instance group as well. So I'm going to select that instance group and then click the create instance group. It's just a group of machines, right? And once you have once you're on top of this and the instance group name is showing there, I'm just going to put the dash here, and today's date is 11Dec2020, instance group 1 11Dec2020, and I'll go for Control A, Control C, and description, Control V, right? And okay, so that instance group, which will be obviously group of virtual machines, it's asking, hey, you want to put single zone, multiple zone? Now, it's always a good idea to put it on multiple zones. Only managed instance groups can exist in multiple zones. Oh, it's stateless. For stateless, serving and batch workloads, supports auto healing, auto scaling, auto updating, regional deployments, and load balancing. Oh, for stateful, that's where they have given better services. Supports auto healing, auto updating, regional deployment, load balancing for stateful workloads, disk and metadata preservation, auto healing and updating, multi-zone deployment, load balancing. Okay, so what we can do is, if we can go to the next one here, so this means that if we started stateless, it's not letting us use multiple zone. Although with single zone we can understand also, but with best practices, if you want to go, they're saying that only managed instance group, which is normally for big applications that you deploy and you want better services. So if we, instead of selecting this, which is by default selected, and it's not letting us use multiple zone, only managed instance groups can exist in. Okay, so I'm going to go for managed instance group because we are just starting, right? So suppose we click the managed instance group. I selected it, right? Yes, it's not changing anything, which means that it could be also okay. Suppose I go for this, it still doesn't change. If I select the third one as well, it doesn't change. Whatever I selected already, or the name, it doesn't load a new page. That's what I was trying to just check. So it's okay. I'm going to just select this one, right? So Jitin says both are working for managed instance groups. Both are working for managed instance. Jitin says stateless also working. Like you're saying that multiple zones is selectable through stateless as well, while it is saying only managed instance groups can exist in multiple zones. So even if it's letting us do that now, later, I hope there is no root surprise there. So it's better to follow what I'm doing.
Yeah, so I'm just reading like it is mentioned multi-zone deployment on both. So I think it will work. Yeah, that's fine. We can go with stateful.
Multi-zone deployment, yes, it shows there. Yeah, so it's in direct conflict with this one. So yes, you're right, and this is a very good point that you raised. Multi-zone deployment is shown here, and that's why there's no error here. But yeah, this message might not give us a, so I'm just going to go for, but that's a good point. Thank you. Okay, so here, new managed instance group, and it does not load a new page, so this means that the name remains the same, but we should be then selecting multiple zones. And then region is permanent, yeah, so region we have to go for what we choose always, US East 1. And then there is configure zones, right? So US East 1, once you configure, so there's a configure zones here. If I click the configure zones, so where do you want the machines to be? Now we have, or we will be creating 2 machines, so we can just deselect one of the 2. Maximize availability, we recommend that you select all 3. Okay, so although we will have just 2 machines, but it says no, still select this much. Actually, you know what, instance group, when we select, another thing you're gonna see, which you saw last time as well, is oh yeah, sorry, see this, it also shows auto scaling, but only for the stateless. For this, it's going to be, auto scaling will not be there. So I was gonna say, oh, we're gonna use auto scaling, but yes, in managed instance group, auto scaling is not there. But it better support load balancing, which it says it does. Okay, So we're gonna keep going down, and yes, all three are selected. We can create 3 machines as well if we want. Instance template, then it's saying, hey, do you have instance template? So no, we don't. Okay, in that case, actually it's showing here, but I'm sure I deleted that. So we're gonna go for create a new instance template, right? So create a new instance template. When we select that, now this is our instance template that we could have created before as well, or we're creating now. I'm just gonna put dash here, instance template 1, and today's date is 11Dec2020. Okay, general purpose is okay, E2, and 2 vCPUs, 4 GB RAM, that is also okay. If we keep going down from the machine type and series, then there is confidential VM, nah. Placement policy, so that is just you wanna specify how your VM instances will be placed within a zone. Select spread for better reliability, or compact for lower network latency. So you can spread the virtual machines if there are multiple virtual machines there within the zone, or just keep them together, so if they are going to update each other as well. So placement policy, we don't need to put that here. Container, we don't need to put a container inside this machine. Also Debian GNU Linux 10. So let's just keep this machine as here, or this image here. If you go further down, identity and API access, yes, allow default access, which just pretty much means that you want to connect some other outside application to this set of machines. Yes, you can. Obviously, we will allow HTTP traffic, right? So one more thing that is very, very important here. In fact, there is a set of those screenshots that I have shown here, and I have put together. So it's when instance group, we are doing that, instance template has been selected, and then we will put a startup script there. Okay, not here. So what I'm talking about here is, if you go down to management, right? If you click the management, and if you go down further, so there's an automation written here inside management, and then automation. So here, whatever software you want to deploy, whatever package you want to deploy after virtual machine is created and OS is deployed, then it will do whatever script you put here for it to deploy. So we don't need to put that script actually in the instance template. We will put it in the instance group which we are creating in the background. There also it will offer us the option. So here we're just choosing that what our one template virtual machine should be. So this is it. This much CPU, RAM, and this operating system, and all machines should have HTTP. This template has that, so whatever copies will be created will have the HTTP open. And that, if you go further down, so nothing much, nothing other than this. So I'm just gonna go down here, down. Availability, preemptibility, we talked about. It's a spot instance, and they can delete anytime they want, but you will get to host the machines in a very, very less price. And host maintenance, that is just for whenever they do host maintenance, they will migrate your machines away. And automatic restart, if you want them to automatically restart. So Milab says, are those scripts based for Linux for the GCP to help it customize the compute instance? Customize the yes, it is for customization, and they are for Linux. They are not for GCP. Suppose you have your own Linux. Suppose you install this Debian image there in your own VMware workstation, so you can use those their script when you're deploying that. But yes, GCP provides the startup option here. If any other application provides that outside, you can put that script there. So the what script we're talking about, this is the one which I'm going to share on there on the board. So startup script apt get install -y Apache 2. and then also install -y PHP, and then start the service of Apache Webserver, and then put that script hi from server 1 in this path and inside this first page, which is always the first welcome web page. So yeah, okay. So this is a script that we're gonna. So well, let me go to that stage and then I'll be sharing that. So here we can put, but we don't have to put here. I'm just gonna go down and simply. That's all. I mean, the instance template is pretty simple and straightforward. Not much here other than clicking the HTTP, and that's it. No other change. So I'm gonna click the save and continue. So once we click the save and continue here.
So we are not using script here? Or?
Not here in the instance group.
Okay.
So, but technically, yes, we can use here as well. It's just that instance group also gives the same options, all same options. Stateful. So if I selected instance template, and it's still asking the disk instance template 1 will be created on instance creation and deleted on instance deletion. So it is stateful, and okay, see this. So guys, what I see later is, now you can see that I used everything stateless, right? I just used stateless. I just wanted to, I didn't use in my testing multiple zone, so that's why inside the instance template, you're right, Chintan, you're right. There is no option in instance group. So sorry, my bad. Yes, that the only option there is in instance template. So I thought there was an outside option here as well. These interfaces look so same. So you're right. It's inside the template. We need to put the script. I'll just share it right away. And this is the instance template that got created and selected as well. And there's a, if you go ahead and click the instance template again, suppose you also click the save and continue, then there's a edit instance template. Let's just edit it and put that script there, because that's the only place where it is. My bad. I thought this management area will still be there. Which management area? This one, management, security, disks, networking, Soul is outside as well. So okay, if you have clicked the edit button, the script is, let me just quickly share that. And I explained also that it's a pretty straightforward script that is installing Apache Webserver. You can go for Nginx as well. You can just grab that script. So I'll copy this script to install Apache. Oh, it's written up there. No, it's not. Okay. To install Apache Webserver, and okay, there's a script. So dash should not be used as well. The actual script is, and I'll just put that in Cloud4in1. Oh, so in the WhatsApp as well. And so the main area is just from, oops, from here to here, right? So we're just going to put that inside the automation startup script area. So this is it, from apt till HTML. And the dash before, hyphen before is also okay. Is not there. It's not gonna be. So I'm just gonna copy that now. So where should I copy? Since I click the edit button on template, then I'm gonna go down here, and there's a management area where I was before, right? So I'm just gonna click the inside the edit of instance template. I'm gonna click the management, and then the management there is startup script area, automation. So if you want to deploy a lot of packets during deployment, during the deployment of the virtual machine and the operating system, you can keep on putting scripts after scripts. This is also supported in AWS and also supported in Azure, that you can put some scripts there, and it's gonna keep on. Suppose you have configuration, the script turns off the firewall. The script creates 2 more network cards. The script just blocks or puts a wallpaper of the company with company branding there. So you can do a lot of stuff there. Server hardening, security. One script can just harden the server as well. So we can do all that. I'm just going to copy that here, this script, which is also copied in from apt. So I'm going to Control C, copy, and go back here, and I'll put it here, from here to here. That's it. So from apt-get till index.html, and what it's going to do, hi from host name, $hostname, whatever is the host name of the virtual machine, right? So, and hi from, you can just change anything else as well. And instead of hi from, hello from Amir, right? Anyway, whatever. So you just put whatever you want to put there, and that's it. Once we have put in that information in the startup area here, then we save and continue, right? So I'm going to click save and continue. Okay, once that is saved and continue, then we've edited the template as well. Now it goes down to stateful configuration, preserve disks from through VM instance recreation, auto healing, and update events. So if there are other changes going on, like auto healing, which is if one machine is frozen, it will just create an exact copy of this machine, and other kind of events that are happening. So preserve disks, don't disturb the disks that are already there with critical data of the machines. So if you go further down here, there is a device name, and yeah, it's just all information is showing there. Stateful configuration. So there's a checkbox here, right? So it says select stateful if you want to maintain the state of the disk on VM instance recreation, auto healing, and update events. For example, choose to preserve the state of a database's data disk. So it just says that whatever recreation is going on, because it's a template out of which virtual machines are created. If your one of the virtual machine is down, suppose there's a critical application deployed on top of it, there's a critical data that is on the virtual disks of a virtual machine. So any kind of changing going on there should not disturb the data of the disk, should not disturb the folder structure of the disks. So for that purpose, we can select that state full as well. But when you select that, there's an auto delete option that comes. Choose whether to detach or automatically delete the disk on permanent instance deletion. For example, when the group is scaled in means, we know that, right? Scaled in, you're deleting machines one by one, right? Scale out, the machines are being multiplied or created more and more clones. So if the scaling in is going on, if you choose not to preserve the disk, the cleanup behavior is defined by auto delete disk configuration in the instance template. So it's just saying that, do you want to automatically delete the virtual disk when the virtual machine is getting deleted as well, right? So on permanent instance deletion, preserve the disk on VM recreation and updates, delete it when the VM is permanently deleted. So, well, that's what it's saying, that when the VM is permanently deleting, at that time delete it. So yeah, we can select that if we are selecting stateful, that hey, our data is so critical, please don't disrupt it, or it should not be affected by any of the changes outside going on. And then it says only preserve state of the boot disk if it contains data that you must preserve during VM recreations and updates. Keeping the boot disk stateless allows boot disk repairs and updates because the boot disk can be recreated based on the immutable image that you specify in the instance template. So,
Amir, I don't have the option you selected.
This one?
On the stateful. Yeah, and yeah, I have in the box. No, yeah, go back. Yeah, and when we choose stateful, yeah, I have only 2 options: detach, and update. 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 Detach, and up
You don't see this?
Disk and delete.
Oh, okay.
I don't have
Oh, okay. Hey, how
on permanent.
if I uncheck that and then check it again? So it does say detach the disk on permanent instance deletion. Is that exactly how you see? Maybe never is not written, maybe detach in your case is written, but it's doing the same thing for me as well. Detach the disk.
No, I don't have.
Oh.
Yeah, I see somebody in the chat also.
Yeah, two others are saying. Mohammed is also saying. Chintan is also saying. But guys, does it say detach the disk on permanent instance deletion?
Yeah, this is option is exist this one, but the another one is not.
Oh, okay. This one is not.
Yeah.
How? What is the difference between what I'm doing and what all of them?
I think we have a two option, but first one is detach disk and second one is delete disk.
Oh.
And bottom part is all exactly same as you.
Bottom is okay. So there's an extra option you see, but I see two. You see three, right?
No, we are saying only two,
Okay.
but you have a never and on permanent instance deletion. We have a detach disk and delete disk.
Oh, okay. So,
But like, the definition is same, looks like, yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's what I was going to say,
right?
that it's doing the same thing, but different words. The wording is different. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool, thank you. And so guys, yeah, if it is exactly doing the same thing, then yes, we can ignore, but that is also weird that, and all of you are getting the other thing, I'm getting another. That's weirder. How is this possible? Guys, we are working in the project 25 November, hopefully, but that should not change anything. How come you all are same and I'm different? Okay, I think none of you are in Scarborough. Just kidding. Okay, so let's go down here. Because we think that they are saying the same thing, so we can ignore if the wordings are different, right? Okay, so then we go down here, and the disk instance template will be preserved during VM lifetime. It will be reattached on instance recreation, auto healing, and update events, and deleted on permanent instance deletion. So it is okay. Okay. Well, that's what we discussed just now. Number of instances. How many do you want? How many? 3? We have 3 availability zones. How about 3? Right? So let's see how it distributes it automatically. And then comes down the health check, right? So no health check? No. We really need a health check. So we're gonna go for, there's a health check here, and I'm gonna click that, create another health check. Ignore that I have others here, ignore that. So create another health check, and once we click the health check, we can go for your first name dash and all lowercase health check. Oh, I already use it. Okay, how about 1? Right. So your first name health check, and you know what? Normally hyphen and 11Dec2020. So we grade today. In case it is left there, we forgot to delete it. In that case, if you're not deleting the whole project, so in that case, we will know that when did we create that. Okay, so health check is going to check through sending packets to the virtual machines if they are alive. So for that, the protocol could be TCP, it could be HTTP as well. So we can go for H, T, T, and P. So HTTP port 80 here because it's just strictly web server traffic. If it was other than web server, like database traffic or file server traffic, then we could have gone for TCP as well. So it's HTTP, and once you select the HTTP, there's no proxy protocol there, so specifies the type of proxy header to append before sending data to the backend, either none or proxy v6. Proxy 6 or v1, the default is none. Default we could keep as none, otherwise you can just append the packets that are coming to your virtual machines, just showing that, hey, I'm coming from this particular load balancer. Now there is a request path here as well. We have gone through this in AWS and Azure as well. So normally what happens is that the health check, suppose you have virtual machines here, and the Apache web server has been installed in the virtual machines, so it would have been having a a health check. So in fact, I copied that whole script in your WhatsApp and in your WebEx, right? So there is the path shows like this /var. Where is the web server deployed? In Windows, we know that, right? It's inet C drive inet pub /www root / and whatever files, index.html or whichever file you need. Here, when Apache gets installed in Linux, so the path is var, then www, and then html, and then index.html. So now this is the whole web server, Apache web server path. Maybe Nginx, which is also a web server, it may have a slightly different path. So the thing is that the health check will keep sending packets to this folder structure here, or suppose you want to put actual index.html file here, so you can actually put that name here as well. It's better to just keep the folder structure path. So what it's essentially doing is the health check will check that, hey, this whole folder structure is there or not. And if it is there, yes, I can not only reach the machine, I can reach the folder structure as well. Because the main service that machine is providing is from within this folder structure, right? Suppose the machine is up, but the folder structure itself was cut, paste, moved away from this path to another path. So it will know, health check will know that at virtual machine is there, yes, but the actual service, the web server was providing, so that folder structure is gone. So essentially that virtual machine being up has no benefit because the actual folder path has changed, and this means that the website is not available anymore. So it has to check the folder structure, and not only just the virtual machine, but the folder structure should be intact. So it would know that the website is being offered by this virtual machine. But this is the same exact case with Azure and AWS as well. We kept the folder structure path there, right? Okay, Chindan says basically we have to give path according to protocol we selected. Yes, you're right. So for TCP, it will not be there. Whenever you select HTTP, it goes for the folder structure, which is the folder structure of the web server. Okay, so yes, you're right. And there is health criteria showing here, and then health criteria we talked about before when we were creating the health check for auto scaling, that there will be check interval, timeout, healthy threshold, unhealthy threshold. So healthy threshold is if 2 times consecutive times after 10 seconds, if it is successful message coming back, then its machine is up. If 3 consecutive times unsuccessful messages coming, then the machine will be considered down. And health check will tell the load balancer, hey, please don't send anything here. I think the machine is down, right? Now I really need to copy this diagram, and what I used to do is not working, so I'll have to resort to the longer way again, where I put this and then make the screenshot smaller, because on the other side, whatever $1 million transactions going on here on my WhatsApp on the other screen is also copied. This was working for some time, that I was able to just take a screenshot, but now it's not. So I'll copy and then okay, so once we are here, then and Demodo says this health check only for error, or it can be for attack as well. Well, health check is only for if the folder structure is there. That's all. So maybe it can be removed because of an attack, or maybe it can be removed because of a human error. So it could be anything. But if it is there, it's okay. If it's not there, it's not okay. And it will not go for the reason actually that because of the virus attack or because of the hacker attack. It will not know that. Okay, so we get that whole thing, and let's click save and continue. So we have configured a health check as well, and it's gonna take 300 seconds. It's gonna not check for 300 seconds. It would let the virtual machine start, and then it will start reporting, okay, yes, they are healthy, right? So that's the health check, and click. Now we're ready with what? We are ready with an instance group that is managed, that has virtual machines supposed to be going to multiple zones, and the instance template has a startup script as well, right? And then we also give number of instances 3 and auto healing. So health check was also configured, and we're going to click create. So let's go ahead and click create. What will happen now is that not only that it's going to create a virtual machine here, VM instances here, but also it needs to deploy Apache Webserver in all machines. It needs to deploy PHP in all virtual machines, and it needs to start the services of Apache Webserver as well. So all that it needs to do, right? So so if you go to the diagram, so instance group created, template, the startup script put there, so we're expecting Apache to be there, web server and PHP to be there, and Apache started. And once it is fully there, you will see that it will be, both of the machines will be given a public IP, right? Public IP here for this machine, and a public IP for this machine, right? So if everything is working fine, and the template and the health check is green once the instance group is created, so what we can check is, if we can go for public IP, we can click that public IP, and it should open its first web page, web server's first web page, and that web page should be showing the name of the virtual machine, right? Web page showing the current virtual machine name. So then we're gonna click the other web page in the browser, and other virtual machines name should be showing there. So that's what we're expecting. If we go back here, oh, it's done, and 3 instances have been created. Okay, not bad. That was fast. So I need to go inside the instance group now, and okay, so health check status is unknown for now, because it could be taking a little time to deploy the Apache web servers as well, and configuring it. It's not that big software actually, and it has 2 vCPUs and 4 GB RAM. It's kind of okay to have those. If I go to, there's a refresh button. No. Okay, so there are details here. There's members. I just clicked on top of the instance group. I'm inside the instance group, and the 3 instances are showing. If I go to details here, so so you can see that the instances were deployed on all three availability zones. So it has equally distributed the instances on the selected availability zones. That's very good, right? So I just went to details here, and 3 instances, instance template. It says current size 3 out of 3, 100%. Target size 3 instances, and stateful, yes, on permanent instance deletion. The disk will be gone, yeah, we know that. So if we go down there, there's a stack driver logging here as well, right? We saw the members here, right? Oh, now they're healthy as well. Okay, good news. So then I'm in details, right? Inside the details, there's a logs area, this one. And inside the logs area is, under the log area is stack driver logging. So if I click the logging here, stack driver logging, so that normally has all the log files, and you can run query on that as well. So at what time, what happened here, is showing logs for last 1 hour starting at this, and if I just expand that, then it's just showing that it is belonging to my project, and it could just tell you as well if the log files are available, that when if the Apache script was deployed, Apache server was deployed at what time, was it successful or not. So log files just tell you everything, what happened inside during the installation. I'm going to go back to, so I was inside the logs viewer now, in the logs explorer. So in the operations logging, I'm just going to click the back button here of the browser, and I'm back to the instances and members. So if we are on the members, then obviously we can just check it out if the web servers independently are working or not. So there's a private IP and there's a public IP for each independent Apache web server Linux machine, which is the Debian, which has a Linux Debian operating system, right? So I'm going to click that public IP for the first machine, and yes, it shows me hello from Amir instance. Guys, the thing you need to see is the last 4 alphanumeric characters, N01D. That's the actual name of the instance, right? So if I go back here and click the public IP of the second VM, and then I'll click the public IP of the second VM, right? And it says hello from our, all this is same, but PJRX, right? So this is different. If I go to the previous instance, previous instance is this, which is N01D, and this is PJRX. So that's how we know that, okay, these are different virtual machines. If I go back to the third machine's public IP, and this is QF6B. So these are that's the way we're gonna know. So it's just grabbing the name of the operating system, virtual machine, Linux virtual machine, that is. So once that is confirmed, so as far as we're concerned about the individual web servers that is the Apache web server successfully installed, and it's working fine as a web server. So yes, it is working fine as a web server. So Mohammed Saq says in the chat, I lost my page 1 when I click the public IP. So then check that if you have a back arrow showing there, and you can just go once back if the public IP just loaded the same page. Otherwise, for me, it loaded another page. So you can just click once only back. Otherwise, you can just come to the instance group by going to navigation menu here on the top, and then go down to the ComputeEngine, and then go to instance group. Inside the ComputeEngine, this is the one, instance group. And then click on top of the instance group here. You don't have a back arrow? Oh, now you got it. Okay, cool. So now you got the instance group again. And then you can just right click here on top of this and click open link in a new tab as well, if direct clicking is only loading on the same page, which is strange. Why is it loading on the same page? All right, so now is the turn for so the individual web pages are working fine. Virtual machine individual web servers are working fine. I have a timeout. So you got an error? Oh, message on the health check. So your health check is not green. This means what the boss is. Okay, it's just timeout. Okay. I think your screen is coming now. No? Okay. So like refresh, you can just refresh that. Try to refresh the whole browser from here. My health check is still red. Saq says. Okay, so guys, the solution for that would be that you all need to move to Scarborough, and then, okay, there you go. Chintan's screen is there, and timeout. And yes, no matter how much refresh is being done. But Chintan, if you click the public IP, does it load the page? regardless of the external IP on the right side. No, not, yeah, this one. Loading. Overall, the internet speed is slow. Yes, it's showing. Mohammed is also showing the same thing. Oh, it's still loading. Whoa. No, it's not. It's the health check that's gonna let your web server actually work. So I think the virtual machines on your side are still deploying the Apache web server as well as the PHP, and let them be green, and we have to wait it out and refresh it, and it's just a slow process. I don't know how it just finished fast for me. Otherwise, when I was practicing, it was slow for me as well at that time. I just left it at that time, right? So I left it and came after 20 minutes, and it was all done. But now I'm seeing it's not fair. Hey, it's, you know why, Mohammed Awad, it's not fair? Because you did not invite us to the, that. Oh man, where was the favorite rice, kapsa? No, mandi. Yeah, must be. See, you didn't get the prayers from us, right? So we would have, our stomachs would have prayed for you, right? So stomachs. Okay. So no, our hearts would have prayed. So, but no must be, no prayer, right? No, we still pray. Okay. So still red, no change. So guys, anyone green here? Anyone? No one, right? Did you create new project? Oh, Ashraf is saying he has all green. Ashraf, are you in the same area where Muhammad Awad is? Or are you in different area? So I can give you a plan to move away from that area where you are right now. All who have read, right? Same building? Are you kidding me? Wow. Okay. So
I think Mohammed Awad said like he created new project, and I also created new project.
oh,
I don't know.
okay. Anyone else who has the red? Did you create a new project? Anyone else who created a new project? Because I did not create a new project. Is that because of that? Why should it be because of that? I created a new project. Okay, Mohammed Awad created a new project. Chintan created a new project. Ashraf, did you create a new project? Oh, then Ashraf, you may not have created a new project, right? Because it's showing. No, okay. Yes, Chintan, you're. Well, old project. Azaldeen, old project, and still red? Same old project. Oh, unhealthy. Okay, guys, it's not the project. It cannot be project. Come on. But so they're old project, and they are still, 25 November, and they're still red. So this means it's a matter of time, and refresh, and your particular subscription might get more bandwidth in the background, whichever data center it is on, and whatever bandwidth is coming from your side. Normally it's working on their data center, so they just need to report to you. So old project also is getting an unhealthy, and so you want to give more time, you can give more time to that. But guys, refresh the whole browser like this. I'm just going to refresh the whole browser, and then try to at least check your public IP again if it opens in the new page, and then if your public IP still is actually showing the correct page and you're seeing unhealthy there, then if the page is showing correct, you're good, we can go ahead. If the page is not opening as well, yes, the Apache is still installing, or it's still starting. It's not there because the health check has to reach that folder structure of the web server. If the folder structure is not there, it's unhealthy, right? Do we need to go another zone? No. Mohammed Sak says, do we need to go other zone? Because it's divided into all 3 zones, right? So I hope everyone is seeing 3 zones here. And whatever I selected exactly, you did that. I'm sure you did. So it should be spread out across all 3 zones. I think for everyone it is spread across all 3 zones, but you can check it out. Other than that, it's okay. Yes, we did. Okay, so well, give it another. You want to take a small 10-minute break, and then we come back, and then we continue with the load balancer. If you want that, or you want me to go ahead, then I can go ahead. But it might be a matter of time, right? So I'll just click the refresh page. I don't know why it's so well, it's a matter of time. You want me to pause the resuming. I tried with different settings before. It was stateless at that time. Now I tried with the different settings, and both times I didn't have to configure firewall. Normally if you click HTTP, it just allows that. It's the health check that is not able to reach your folder structure right now. So hopefully all the options that I selected, well, it's 3 or 4 guys were not seeing it healthy. So guys, you can go to details here and compare with mine if yours is different. I click the details on the top. Members is this. Inside the group, then there's details. And if we go down the details, you can compare what if there's any different setting. There shouldn't be. 3 instances showing here, and it's stateful. If I go up the details, I go to monitoring. Guys, you can also check the errors. Actually, I'm just going to go to the errors. In the errors area, do you see any errors? So the configuration should be same. I don't see any errors. So maybe you are also not seeing errors. So, well, you could just check it out. Maybe after some time. Maybe it's just too slow right now. So we can continue and see the rest of the lab, and by that you can just follow from the video as well.
Yeah, go ahead. We can see the video later.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Tried something with the script or like that. I don't know exactly. Because I can open the Linux like.
You can open the page, or you can enter the machine.
No, enter the machine. Like I can go to the machine and I can see the machine is on, but maybe script is not running or something. Like how do we know we have troubleshoot
It
in
could
Linux?
be the script as well. If you're a Linux guru, then you can go to the folder structure. You can reinstall the Apache again. Otherwise, redo the lab from the start again and deploy the script with 2 machines.
That's fine. That's fine. Should be fine. Like something. It is not like that. Like big, so should be fine. Yeah, there is something on the script.
Yeah. Well, the script is working for 2 guys here only, and that's it. Okay, so let's talk about the load balancing, and hopefully, we can figure out what's going on there. So I did it second time now. Today I did this lab second time now, even with different options. So you also followed all the same options as I did, but strange. I think it's just terribly slow for some. I guess because it's the same exact options I tried second time now. Okay, or in fact a little difference as well, and it's the same thing. Result is good. So I'm gonna go ahead and the other thing is just attach these 3 machines to the load balancer. So where is the load balancer? So what I can do is, first of all, I'm just gonna close the other pages where we were checking this the load, the web server is working fine. Then second thing is I'm just gonna right click and make a duplicate of the cloud page. So one page should just show this. It's not a must, I'm just doing it anyway. We can just go from this page to the load balancer as well. I'll just open another page, and from there I'll go to the load balancer. Where is the load balancer? If I go to the top navigation menu here, then we go down, and then down until you see the networking, and there's the network services. And in the network services, you can see the load balancing. So networking and then network services. I'm going to go to load balancing now, and so load balancers distribute incoming network traffic across multiple VM instances to help your application scale. Yes, we talked about that, so I'm just going to click that, create load balancer. So once we click the create load balancer, it shows you this, the HTTPS load balancing layer 7, or you can say application load balancer. So AWS and Azure call it application load balancer, and here it's HTTPS. Obviously, when it is HTTPS, and it's a layer 7 load balancer. Well, it's not like if it's HTTPS, it is application. HTTPS can be used for file server as well, right? Or but it's the application layer load balancer. So there is internal facing or external, internet facing or internal load balancer, single or multi-region as well. So we talked about that already. But this is application load balancer specifically for that environment. And then TCP load balancing is for all others. Layer 4 load balancing or proxy for applications that rely on TCP/SSL protocol. Some applications do rely on TCP SSL as well. Some of these services require TCP to be there. So TCP load balancing, SSL proxy, TCP proxy, in those situations where you also are going through internet connectivity or through a proxy application there as well. So in that case, you will use TCP load balancing, but majority of the cases you will use that if it's not specific application that you're connecting to. The UDP load balancing, layer 4 load balancing for applications that rely on UDP protocol. So UDP normally is that the traffic may not be coming to stay longer, and it's just reaching there, and some announcement is going on, type of those things. Some changes are being sent there that can be also reconfigured later as well. So this is also internet facing, internal or single region, multiple. It's just single region, not multiple region, but this is multi-region. We're going for TCP load balancing now, and we're going to click the start configuration. Wow, 4 syllables. Okay. So TCP load balancing and start configuration, you'll see that it's not a big deal. It's the same thing that you saw before as well. Azure had more complicated way of configuring it. AWS had a bit simpler and faster configuration, and it was working fine. And you will see that Google Cloud is also not asking a lot of configurations. So internet facing or internal only. Yes, it is internet facing, because when we put a public IP, so obviously we are connecting from internet. So we don't need this option. We don't need any change from internet to my VMs. Then multi-regions or single region. So obviously we're going for multi-region. But you can see that one option was removed. But if I go to single region just to explore that option, what is that option? It is, do you want to use target pool or regional backend service as a backend? Target pool or backend service is you want to connect to, so backend services enable you to define how the load balancer distributes traffic. With backend services, you get additional features such as connection draining, like slowly disconnect from a machine instead of abruptly. The ability to configure TCP health checks. You can just do editing of health checks as well. Use managed instance groups as backends. Guys, you didn't make any extra changes to the health check, right? I changed health check to HTTP. I'm sure you did also. Health check to, check your, if you're troubleshooting, you can check your health check if anything was different, because it's the health check's duty to get it green. So I'm just going to go for multiple regions, right? Because we are on, no, we're not on multiple region, guys. We're on multiple zones right now, right? So we're not on multiple regions. So East US and West US, we're not like that. We are still in just East US, but in multiple zones within one region, right? So that's why that was wrong from my side to go multiple regions. And backend type target pool. Yeah, we're gonna go for target pool or target instance here, and we're gonna keep it like that, and we're gonna click. So no changes on this page, no changes on this page, and click continue. If you want me to show you my health check configuration, let me know. But we didn't change much there. Okay, so the TCP Load Balancer, what do you want to name it? So we can just go for your first name dash TCP Load Balancer dash 11Dec2020, today's date. Okay, so once we put that name there, then you have backend configuration, front-end configuration, review and finalize. So backend configuration, obviously, where are the virtual machines? And it's on that. A TCP load balancer has two parts: backend configuration. A backend defines a group of instances that should receive incoming traffic. So we need to define those three instances. And front end does what? Your IP address, protocol, and port. This is the IP into which your client requests will come. So we're going to click the backend configuration here first and configure this and check what do we need to configure in the backend configuration. So obviously first thing is asking, hey, which region your virtual machines are? We know that it is in East US. So we go down here until we see this US East 1, right? And then there is select existing instance groups. Yeah, so add an instance group. Suppose we go for that, and you can see there is a instance group showing here. But not only this, once the instance group is showing, we need to go to select existing instances as well. Although if I just drop down here, no, it's not letting me drop down. So it's just looking for a instance group. But we need to make sure that three instances inside this instance group are clearly selected. So I'm going to go to the other side and check select instances, and if I drop down here, I see three instances in three different availability zones within one region. So I'll go for the first one, which is D, then I'll go again and drop down the two remaining C, and then I'll again drop down one remaining B. So all three machines, make sure you have shown here. You have put them down here, right? Added there. So these three are taking part in the load balancing process. And other than that, if there's a backup pool which we did not create. So what is a backup pool? The backup target pool handles traffic if the health of the primary target pool falls below the failover ratio. So it just says that I'll just put it on the other side. So you have these backend machines there, and that's a pool of machines you have, right? And the traffic is being divided on all of these. And then do you have some backup pool as well? And if these machines are somehow not available for some reason, so all the traffic will be redirected to the backup pool here, and will be distributed among, maybe you have also 3 here as well, or maybe 20 ahead and 5 here just for the backup. So you can have the backup pool as well. Failover ratio here, the percentage of healthy VM instances below which a failover to backup target pool is triggered. Why did I say oh? So that's not available in, well, I didn't see that in the basic load balancer in AWS and Azure. And what it says here is again that diagram that if the failover ratio is that if 10% of the total virtual machine, so this is the first pool where all the traffic is being divided, and backup pool is just sitting there and waiting. If anything happens to the first set of machines, then the traffic would be redirected to us. Now, how many machines should go down that the backup pool should be So the failover from that first pool to the second pool should be triggered. So what percentage should be tolerated, up to what percentage? So it says failover ratio is 10%, and that is percent written here. So if 10% of traffic is or 11% of traffic is still being handled, then it's okay. But if it falls below 10%, that hey, I can't even handle this much traffic, because there are so many. One machine went down, second machine went down, so 50-60% of traffic is gone, or if they're not able to connect, it goes down to, hey, can you handle 10% of traffic which was there? And if it goes even down to that, no, all the traffic is redirected here, I can't even handle that much traffic. So then the failover happens, and it says, okay, you guys, somebody has to come here and turn on the other machines. Until then, I'm declaring a failover, and all the traffic I'm redirecting to these guys now. Until you guys are up, we're gonna redirect it to customers here, right, or clients here. So that's pretty cool, actually, and that's not there. I didn't see that. Yeah, you were saying?
Now work with me. Just I configure the firewall, and all of them now healthy.
Okay, so your firewall settings. What did you configure in the firewall?
Yeah, just I follow the instructions of the in the same page of when you click the information, it telling you what to do. And I open that page. If the body that didn't work with him, he can do that. Just click the information and will open the new page and telling you step by step, giving you guidelines. So finally asking for the firewall, and then I went to firewall and I add IP address, allow, and then healthy.
You allowed the port 80?
Yeah, TCP port 80.
Oh, so this means what we did when we selected the HTTP.
Because you know, when they say timeout, they say cannot reach the server. Cannot reach the server, and the reason for not reach the server because of the firewall is blocked by default.
How come it's blocking for everyone and not blocking for me? That's very good. Thank you for sharing that, Mohammad. That's a very good troubleshooting you did, and shared with us as well. So guys, check your port 80 and just add it again from the firewall. But you followed the troubleshooting steps, and the troubleshooting steps, okay, also check the firewall. When you check the firewall, it turned out that port 80 traffic was not reaching. Okay. So, wow, thank you. So guys, others, if you still have red, you can just go for that.
Means that what you did here in that, I will not say just go back, but in the break or something, because you know now I miss this part.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, the whole TCP load balancing part.
Yeah, you choose TCP.
Yeah, TCP load balancer, and then just put a name, and then that's it. Backend configuration.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, nice. You're there. Good. So others can also check that if the traffic is, if it's not healthy, why the HTTP was still not allowed, although we clicked on it. So if you want to check, otherwise, yes, when you're back, then you can check. So yes, there was another question there. How do we configure the? Chintan says, from where can we create second pool machines? So there's a backup pool here, and within the load balancer, I have to check that too. That where to go to create the backup pool. It would be just some extra machines that you can assign here as well. But yes, I have to check that myself as well, and that's a very good point. If we have that kind of setup, then we could check it out as well. Okay, well, I'll just print screen that, and I'll put it here, and yeah, this much. I'll copy. Okay, so yeah. Yeah, So here, we have talked about this GCP Load Balancer, and the backup pool is there. Oh, there it is. I didn't click that. Create a backup pool. Now, well, that's a very interesting question from Chintan. So, if I go ahead and click that, right? So I'm not going to go keep going ahead, but if I click the create a backup pool here, so then it asks for extra instances. So yeah, we could have created 6 instances instead of 1, and 3 ahead and 3 in the back, right? And we can suppose I go for test here. I'm not going to actually create that because I don't have extra machines. If I click that and so the same instances, although I selected it for the front one, I should not be selecting them for the backup, but if I select that, it's letting me.
Can we select 2 on front and 1 on back?
Oh yeah, that would be a good idea. So I will remove it from there and I'll put this one on back. So that's very good. So I'll check that out, which one. Okay, B, C, D. I'll go for D as a backup, just for no particular reason. They're all same. And so one instance is added. If I have to select the no, it's not going for the instance group. So one instance I'm selecting, but then when I go back, I'll have to remove it from the front end. Backup pool, no. Failover ratio is 10%. That is it. Health check. For the backup pool, that's a separate health check, really. I can go for. I can create another health check that is actually checking on those machines. But backup pool, I'll just create another health check here. So your first name dash health check dash backup pool dash 11Dec2020 dash Toronto, Ontario, North America dash planet Earth dash Milky Way galaxy. Okay, so anyway, here, yeah, the rest is same. Rest is okay. It's a typical health check, but that's just for the backup pool VMs. So when we see the name, we would know right away exactly, hey, why so many health checks we have created? VMs dash. Alright, so I'm just gonna click the save and continue here. And yeah, so the backup pool is also good. We're gonna still talk about such an affinity in the other screen. Save and continue. And I'll remove the D from the back ends. So select from template based. Yeah, it doesn't say that it is front end, but it does say backup pool. But yeah, backup is well deserved name. I'm going to remove this D from here because now it is in the backup pool. Okay, so once that is there, if I go down for the backend configuration or the machines that are in the front, I haven't created a health check for that. I was supposed to actually create for this one, so why not? And I'll go ahead and health check your first name dash yeah, it's the backend machine, backend VMs dash 11 back. So other one is backup. This is back end. So hopefully that's what I remember. So save and continue. So okay, so front machines have this, and one backup machine is backup pool here. So now if we health check is configured, so region is configured, the machines have been put there. Hey, these please send the traffic load balancer, Mr. Load Balancer, just or ma'am Load Balancer, just send the traffic here. And then backup pool, we define that too, and it's health check. And then the ratio, so how many machines, how much percent of traffic, the percentage of healthy VM instances below which failover to the backup target pool is triggered. So suppose I go for here 50. If half of the machines are gone, so we have total 2 here. If one of them is shut down or gone, then the backup machine will be used to identify the traffic as well. So, right? Suppose you have 10 machines and you put 10% here, so then you can just see that so if 9 machines are gone and 1 machine is left only, then it can just trigger the failover to the backup, right?
Amir, just question, please. For those computer, if computer unavailable, how does the computer knows this computer is not in the network? So, I mean, how the mechanism happen between the computer, how they send the message
Health check.
to.
It's the health check.
Huh?
Yep.
Health check, huh?
Yeah, so health check is,
Okay.
yeah.
That interval timeout or something like that, interval something.
Yeah, so when we were configuring the health check, so it was showing that there's a time. If I go for edit health check, edit, yeah, this one. So it has this check interval, and how often in seconds to send a health check. So every 10 seconds is going to send a health check. If 5-second timeout, then it will wait. It will send 2 consecutive health checks there to check that it is. If 2 health checks are giving correct answer, it will go for that is healthy. If 3 consecutive health checks every 10 seconds it is sending and 3 are failed, there is no response, then it will consider it as down. So
thank you.
And save and continue. So okay guys, we have defined the backend configuration, which is normally the virtual machines, but then this is GCP. I saw that, and not in AWS and Azure, that it has a backup of the backend as well. So the virtual machines that the traffic will be sent to, and their backup is also there. So that's pretty cool. I guess maybe it's there. I may not have seen that in Azure, but well, I hope, or maybe in next few months you will see that there as well. Anyway, so then the last one is session affinity, right? So session affinity is if none is configured, which is right now configured, successive requests from a particular client IP can go to any instance in the pool. If client IP requests from the client IP go to the same instance, if client IP and protocol requests from the client IP with the same protocol go to the same instance. Okay, so in English, what it means is that if you are there was a client IP shown here, right? So then client IP and protocol. So suppose there are virtual machines here, and those virtual machines, there's a lot of traffic coming, and load balancer is sending that traffic or receiving that traffic and distributing among the machines. If none is selected, then load balancer will send the traffic to any random machine. So if that user, suppose there's a user who is connecting, and the user goes to the load balancer, and it's just sending this user to one machine. Okay, the session got disconnected for a while, or just it was a hiccup. It just disconnected and reconnected, right? So when the user comes back here, hey, I'm back here, just for a second I was not there. So LB will send still that user to some other random machine, which actually are all the exactly same configured web servers, obviously. So it's not like users is sent to another machine that it will be a totally different web server. They're exactly the same. But what if you select the IPs, and then there's an IP and protocol? So what happens in that case, what was written there in the drop down is that so with IP, so if you select that here, then what will happen, the user, when the user is making a connection to the LB will check that, this is your IP, okay, and it will be the public IP of that user. It will remember the IP. Why? If the users got disconnected, so user was actually there for suppose on the Best Buy website, right? So the user was comparing a product, 3 products the user was comparing. So that window was open and the prices were coming here. Then user added a 3rd product, then filtered the criteria as well, that I just want Intel processor prices there, and not AMD and not other companies. So that we can filter out the page and customize the check to check the products. So all of a sudden the user got disconnected, but load balance will remember this IP of this user, and as soon as the user got connected again, so LB will forward it to the, suppose the user will forward it to this machine before disconnection. So it will remember the session, and it will not remove or refresh that session. There were three comparisons going on, and one filter was put there. It will remember that selection of the user was doing before disconnection. When the user connects again, it would remember, oh yes, this is the same user because I remember the IP. So it will send it to the same machine where the user session was still open, where the user had opened a comparison of three products, and one filter was placed here. So the only session affinity just means that, do you want the user load balancer to remember the user's connection, remember the user's IP? Why? To save the session that the user was working on, and whatever selection the user has made should not be lost just because of a temporary disconnection. So it will remember the IP. When the user comes back, it will just show the exact same page on the same machine that was open. If none is there, then if the user is disconnected, it will not remember that, refresh the page, it will just send the user some other page. The user can start selecting again, or do the comparison again. And okay, so there's a Milab says it will keep track of the sessions and VM. Yes, exactly. And Mohammed says vulnerability. How? So Milab says they implement this feature in Citrix. What purpose would this serve here? So this is, you would only go for session affinity if you see that your users will be staying for long. Then you go for that. Otherwise, always stick to none if it's just basic web pages that user will click and go away, right? So suppose it's databases, it's file servers, it's an application that the user is connecting, and user will spend a lot of time, as you said, Citrix as well. Then you go for IP and Ipn Protocol, right? So otherwise, keep it to none if you know that the users will not be spending a lot of time and doing some configuration for which they need to stay longer here. And if they got disconnected, their session will still be saved, and they will still be able to continue the session, right? Okay. And that's the same thing with Ipn Protocol. The user is connected with Ipn Protocol, so LB load balancer will remember that with IP, whatever the public IP and whatever the protocol. Suppose it was 80, suppose it was 443 port used for that protocol, or 1433, or the TCP port was used for that, whichever port. So it will just remember IP and protocol of the user. This means that you know that the user will be spending longer time here, and if session is disconnected, then the user logs back in. Please remember the user's session settings, secure, save the user's session setting, and let the user continue even after a slight disconnection. And remember, it's configurations on whichever machine the user was. Take that user to that machine. So the user will continue doing what he or she was doing, right? So that's the main session affinity. This was the same in Azure and AWS as well. That session affinity, you can, and exactly same options, none, IP, and Ipn protocol, right? So I will take the print screen here, and then I will put here, and I'll drag it to all right, let us go ahead. And session affinity, none, or IP client. In fact, there is yeah, that's it. I was thinking there's something else. So okay, so we defined our backend configuration, and depends on whatever the application you have here, you can choose session affinity as well. And then there's a backup pool, and the health check for both backend machine and the backup pool machines as well we configured, right? So once that is configured, there is no save button here, so this means that it should be saved if we go to the next one by clicking here. So once you click the front-end configuration, so there it says that, oh yeah, so what's your front-end IP and port? So it just says that, hey, put a name here. So we're gonna go for your first name, front-end front-end IP and port, right? So, and we did that 11Dec2020, and here, so it just says network service tier, so premium, current project level tier, or standard. So it just says network service tiers enable you to optimize network quality and performance versus cost for your resources. So premium means, yeah, it's gonna take much better care of your traffic. Or standard, oh, you don't want to spend more money, okay. Traffic enters and exits the Google network at a peering point closest to the cloud region it's destined for or originated in. Now this is the same option that Microsoft was also saying, that you want to go for Microsoft network, backbone network, or you want to go for internet. So what that means is that you have a company here, and you have a company and you have a lot of machines here, and you want to upload some files up there, or just make a connection and transfer some files up there from your local company Tor branch to GCP. So GCP is just saying that, hey, when your data starts traveling towards us, you want to use our backbone network. So what will happen is, as soon as the data starts traveling from the branch, it will look for where is the nearest GCP's backbone network going. And we see that, we know that these cloud service providers have dug out their own very long, expensive lease lines across the continent. So if whichever lease line is passing by, it will just hop onto that Google's network, wherever it is passing by from your branch, wherever that is, right? Or if you go for the standard, then it's going to connect to the internet, and it's going to go hopping on the different ISPs and then telecoms, and until when it is about to reach the GCP data center, and there it will just hop onto the GCP's lease line, right? So that would be their lease line. So if you go for standard, then you're using internet. If you're going for premium, so it will search for the nearest lease line passing by, and it will hop onto that. So that's the purpose. That's the exact same scenario in concept in Microsoft as well. Use the Microsoft backbone network or go for the internet, right? So I'm gonna print screen here, and okay. Oh, I'll drag it up. Oh man. Okay. Yeah. All right, let's go ahead. So then there is IP ephemeral, or there's a public IP you want to go for. So we need to create a public IP. We need to create a name, and against that, the Google Cloud will provide us a public IP. Ephemeral just means that from a pool of IP, it's just gonna assign you an IP automatically, or you can just assign a name there, and you will still be given one public IP there if you purchase a pool of IP, or it will assign a pool of IP to you, and it may charge you that pool. If you go for create an IP address, we're going to click that create IP address here. It just says, hey, just give me a name. Against that, we'll just create a public IP for you. So it's small case all public IP dash 11Dec2020, right? So I'll click the reserve that, just, hey, can you give me a public IP here? GCP, thank you very much. And what port? Obviously, it's going to be port AT. So, yeah. And we have to click done here once we have decided the new front-end IP and port here. We've done that. I'm going to click done. And so backend is good, front end is good now. Review and finalize the whole configuration. So that's it. Now we have two instances there. One is gone for the backup, right? And then we can simply click the create button. So let's click the create button. Okay guys, so that might take some time. So this means that we can go for one big break now. Yay! Okay, your silence means yes. You know, because I want yes, that's why I'm saying that. Your silence means yes. Okay, since you insist. So, break and classes starts 8:10. Yes, okay. There's a yes. Alright guys, so let us go ahead and I'll mute. Well, let's carry on resuming from the break. And let's we were going for the GCP load balancer, and we have configured the GCP load balancer, and it seems like the two instances are up. And oh, okay, so target pool, so this is the backup and this is the actual load balancer there, right? So the two instances here and one instance here, right? It's showing two, so one is the back end, other is the other backup pool. So if we go to the actual load balancer here and click on top of this load balancer showing two instances, or maybe if you did not create the backup pool, then it should be showing maybe three instances for you. So I'm going to click that load balancer, and once we go there, so I get an IP, public IP here, right? And I see the two instances here. Well, that's what we were expecting. So I can click this. I'll just copy that. What we need to do now is simply put this public IP to, where do you want to put the public IP? Put this public IP to the browser and check it out. So just put that public IP on different browsers and then just check it out. So I'm just gonna copy this public IP here. You don't have to really copy the port 80. I'll put it on my other browser, and so I'm redirected to a VM called PJRX, right? So now when we configure that on AWS load balancer and we refresh, and each refresh is considered a new client, and it changes, load balancer simply changes that virtual machine. But here with Azure and Google Cloud, if you refresh, it does not change that, it keeps it as the same. So I'll have to put that IP in my other browser to pose as the new client, and I have a Firefox browser that I'll open as well and put it there as well. So Firefox is opening. And I'll put this there. PJRX is showing actually the same. Oh, now when I refresh, you can see QF6B. It's the other instance. Refresh again. Oh, Firefox works fine. It just changed to different instances. Chrome was not doing that. well, okay, so but it did change before. So yes, the load balancing is going on, and so here it is PGRX, and by now I refreshed, but the Chrome does not pose to be, Chrome refresh does not appear to be really. Now after some time, when I go to Firefox, it is QF6B. So yeah, it's load balancing basically, right? So that is what we needed to do, and load balancing works. We also know that the virtual machines were on different availability zones, so yes, load balancing works on different availability zones as well, and in different browsers it takes it as different clients, and then it simply works fine, right? So that is load balancing topic that we wanted to go for, and yes, we proved that it works fine. And well, so we can come back to so that's why I gave a break there, so the machines would fully start, and then like the machines were started, but the load balancer would deploy fully, and gave it time for any kind of background sources that are still starting or dependencies, so everything else is okay. Now we can continue with let's go for rest of the compute engine topics. Okay, so I'll just hit back there. Now the load balancer is there, we don't really need that, so I would want to delete it before I forget it, because I'm not deleting the project. So yeah, for no particular reason I'm deleting the project. I'm not deleting the project. I should be deleting the project and just next time create a new project. That would be much easier. In fact, yes, today I will do exactly that. I'll delete this project. So we should go that way as well. That how about we create for next labs new projects and then delete them. Well, some of you are already doing that. Anyway, so I'm just going to go back to this cloud platform there, which was the second tab here that I duplicated to go to the network load balancing. I'm going to close that, and the first tab was already on ComputeEngine. So I'm going to go to the ComputeEngine here, and here we talked about VM instances. We created the VM instances, we went inside as well, and we installed separately load balancer as well. We also went for the auto scaling feature for that, and instance template, we created that too. Then there is sole tenant nodes here, and sole tenant nodes is obviously if you are the only tenant and you are not actually sharing, you don't want any other company's virtual machines to be shared on your node. Create node templates directly while creating a node group. So that is just what it is. Add a new node group, and if you go for sole tenant node, and there's that screen that pops up, I'm going to click that on the top right, and so sole tenancy lets you have exclusive access to a sole tenant node, which is a physical compute engine server that is dedicated to hosting only your project's VMs. So that's the main thing. You want perfect performance. Yes, you go for sole tenant nodes. Obviously, they're going to charge you more. So that's use sole tenant nodes to keep your VMs physically separated from VMs in other projects, or to group your VMs together on the same host hardware as shown in the following diagram. So this is how the hardware on the GCP side look like. There's a host hardware, there's hypervisors, whatever hypervisor they're using. It's not whatever, I think Red Hat, Linux, KVM hypervisor maybe they're using, or yeah, whatever hypervisor they're using. So VM1, VM2, VM3, VM4 here, or VM1, VM2, VM3, VM4, multi-tenant host, and then sole tenant host as well, all VMs here, and or from different projects. The virtual machines are also on your purchased hardware. That's the main thing, right? It also shows this screen here, customer 1, customer 2, customer 3, and different colors are actually showing that. So this is what we normally have if you don't purchase a hardware of our own on GCP side. Then other customers also virtual have their virtual machines on the underlying physical server that we have our virtual machines on. So yeah, what is sole tenant node? I'm just gonna copy that. So this is reserved instances there in AWS, so okay, sole tenant nodes and the documentation page there, and here as well. Okay, so other than that, we have then if we go down machine images, so that is you want to create a machine image. A machine image is a ComputeEngine resource that stores all the configuration, metadata, permissions, and data from one or more disks required to create a virtual machine instance. You can use a machine image in many system maintenance scenarios such as instance creation, backup and recovery, and instance cloning. So you want to clone, and you want to go for your machine image, you can just create that. If I go for click create machine image, so what's the difference between creating machine image and creating a VM instance here? Isn't it the same thing, or is it different? So VM instance, obviously you can create an image out of that. You can actually but you first have to create a virtual machine, install all the applications there, then you can create an image out of that. You can create a template out of that as well. So if I go for create machine image here and go for your first name dash machine image dash 11Dec2020, and it's then saying, hey, you want to image what other source instance, right? So that's what mainly it is then asking, and so I'm just gonna drop down here, and then it's saying that okay, you want to create an image out of which current instance. Suppose we didn't have an instance already created there, then no, you cannot create an image. Then you have to have some instance of which you can create an image, and then you can clone that image. So this means that the instances we have, suppose in one of these instances I've installed MS Office, WinZip, and antivirus and anti-malware, and all the regular applications that you do deploy, so you can create there as well. So if I go for instance group and select any random one machine here, then this image would be multi-regional, or it would be regional. Is it accessible on different regions, and or is it going to be just for one region? So I'll just go for regional here, and that is US East 1 South Carolina. Otherwise, yes, we can go multi-region, so it will be available that way. Also, there is Google managed keys, so encryption keys you want Google to manage, well, that's the best idea. And then we go for show advanced information. That opens up a lot of other options. It was an option here. So this image actually lives inside this project, this one, right? And which zone? It's on US East 1D zone. So that's just the basic information there. Boot disk and local disks that you want. So already that instance is based. That instance that I selected here for the image, that instance was created from the template, right? So it has a 10 GB disk already, and delete the boot disk when the instance is ready. It's not letting me select that now. Additional disks you want to create, well, actually whatever additional disks are there inside that virtual machine, that's what it's going to get. And are there any additional disks? No, we did not create any additional disk in that particular machine that we selected here to create an image of, right? And then network interface is here. So well, that's just one NIC. So deletion protection, when deletion protection is enabled, instances cannot be deleted. So you want to click that. I just wanted to check because it's not clickable as well, because we did not select it in the original machine there as well, although I was thinking that it would let me select here. So preemptibility, we never selected that for the original machine. Automatic restart is on, and host maintenance, it will migrate. So these are just the default options at any virtual machine that you create. But yes, you will create an image only of that machine that you may have really worked on. So how did you work on that machine? You would have created you've installed all the applications, installed all the latest patching there, ran antivirus on that, installed all the proper drivers there, and then you shut down that machine with Sysprep. So then when you create a new image of that, so that machine will have a new SID. Yeah, so Sysprep. So Chintan says how to configure out of box settings in Sysprep. So there is a Sysprep that is normally run there. Sysprep is part of the every Windows operating system, and so out of the box setting is or OOB that is called, and that comes with Sysprep. Now I'm going to do a very dangerous thing here. That is, if I right click here and go to run, and I type Sysprep in the run. So I'm going to press OK here. I hope it doesn't start running, because it can destroy all my laptop settings and operating system and applications. So this Sysprep lives inside Windows and System32 and Sysprep. So yeah, once image, then run Sysprep for Windows. Yes. So well, the main thing, how does it all work is that you create a virtual machine. Normally this is inside my step-by-step lab is inside my 11Dec2020 course, and wherever we have created virtual machines. So that's the first thing we used to do in MCSA, that we used to create one template, then we would prepare it and shut it down with Sysprep. So what happens is that you create a virtual machine, you have made sure that all the apps are there, drivers are there, patching is done, and obviously the OS is there. And then once everything is installed and this machine is a picture perfect that you want to give to others, then you run Sysprep on that. And what happens is that you can select OOB and generalize, right? So why would you want to do that? So OOB is out of box setting, and then generalize is that make that when you create a clone out of that machine, make it look like as if you just bought the machine from outside, and the experience should be like that when you're creating a clone as well. So it should be easily configured. So just then generalize is option for that. And then we also shut this machine down with Sysprep. What does that mean? So you have to shut down this machine with Sysprep, because you only run Sysprep and shut down the machine with Sysprep when you want to create clones out of that. So we only shut down machine VM with Sysprep when we need to clone it, right? So, and what's the purpose of, what's the benefit of that? I mean, okay, you can create clone, but why shut down with Sysprep? When I say shut down with Sysprep, what do I exactly mean by that? So if I just go for double click this Sysprep here, and there's a generalize option here, and there's a reboot. So instead of that, I'm gonna click shut down here, right? This is what we do when all the configurations are perfect. You have installed all the applications, drivers, done patching, run, installed antivirus, WinZip, MS Office, everything. Machine is perfect to be cloned now. Then the final thing is you go for this generalize and shut down option, and then you press OK, and then don't do it on your laptop, because if you do that, it's going to break all your applications, break all your operating system. You have to just format the whole thing, and everything will be destroyed in your laptop, whatever is called software, right? So, or broken. So anyway, but you shut down that machine with Sysprep as a final step. After that, it's supposed to stay shut down forever, right? It's supposed to stay shut down forever. So I'm going to click cancel. Whoa, this is dangerous. So I'm going to click cancel here. And once we shut it down forever, the purpose is each clone will have its own SID, its unique SID. And SID is security identifier. How does it look like? It is like this, some alphanumeric character, and if SID of two VMs is same, then they cannot join the domain, and many network services will not be available for these machines, right? For these machines. So this is what it will do. Yeah, it will create a new SID, as you said. So the main thing is that we need to make sure that it is shut down Sysprep. So once all that is done, then you just go to the create image. That machine is shut down. You select that machine here, and you go ahead with these settings here. And once the image is created, then go ahead and start creating clones out of that. Each clone will have a unique SID. They can be joined in you create a VPC, you create multiple subnets. Each subnet has suppose 100 machines. So all 100 machines can stay in the network and talk to each other because they have unique SIDs. And that is only possible if you shut down this machine with Sysprep that you selected here. Okay. So that's what we need to be careful about, and I did not do that. Obviously, I did not run the Sysprep. You want to see the whole process of how to shut down the machine with Sysprep, you can just watch that in LMS, the free course 70-740, and then you just create that one machine with Sysprep and then clone it within VMware Workstation. Okay, I'm going to click that create button here. And the image starts getting created now, and so from that you can create an instance. If it was shut down with Sysprep, yes, it would be safe to create multiple instances, because we will know that they will all have unique SID. Right now, if I create an instance, then another instance, those two will have the same SID, which is not good for the same network, for them to run in the same network. Okay, well, that's how image is created. You need to have a VM instance already there, right? And it better be prepared properly with Sysprep. Okay, so that's machine images that we're talking about it, and it's going to take some time to get created. So until then, we can go ahead to other topics as well. There's TPU here, and what is TPU? So TPU API provides customers with access to Google TPU technology, and TPU API provides, okay, it just says the same thing. Google's mission is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and usable through products and platforms like search, maps, Gmail, and others. Plays meaningful role in the daily lives of millions of people. So that's it's saying that it's normally it's tensor processing unit, but it did not actually give all that. So I'm just going to click that, learn more, to give you a proper definition there. What is this machine learning has? So there is a TPU, Cloud TPU, train and run machine learning. So it's all about machine learning, but this is called tensor processing unit. What is that? Machine learning has produced business and research breakthroughs ranging from network security to medical diagnosis. We built the TPU in order to make it possible for anyone to achieve similar breakthroughs. How? Cloud TPU is the custom designed machine learning ASIC that powers Google products like Translate, Photos, Search, Assistant, and Gmail. Here's how you can put the TPU and machine learning to work, accelerating your company's success and especially at scale. So the main thing is tensor processing unit. TPU is used for machine learning. Lots of processing needs to be done. Try the demo. It just shows you this. Want to learn more about how the cloud TPU is fine-tuned for your machine learning applications. Those applications that are designed for running your machines automatically and respond to what you want to do, and they will do it on the machine automatically, right? And give the demo a try and read the blog. So machine learning performance and benchmarks. So it's just saying that this is TPU is specifically used for machine learning, and that requires a lot of processing there as well. And to see how Cloud TPU compares to other accelerators. So basically they're calling it an accelerator or speeding up. Read the blog or view the MLPerf benchmark if we click the results here. So then it goes for what is it comparing with. So that's a big benchmark here. Any use of the MLPerf results and site must comply with the MLPerf terms of use, training overview, and then training results. So it's just giving you image classification. What are the categories here? SSD. So what kind of SSD is used? Mask, object detection, heavyweight, translation, recurrent. So somebody is translating. Translation require a lot of processing as well, because if you're putting a long sentence there and millions of people are doing that at the same time, so you're retrieving a lot of data. That requires a lot of processing power in the background to work. So translation, non-recurring, recommendation, reinforcement learning. So these are different tasks that are being given, or these are the big applications. Image classification, you're classifying images there, and object detection, lightweight, object detection, heavyweight. So all these are going on in Google's website on very, very large scale. Just the Google Photos is uploading like every second, thousands of photos there, right, across the planet, or every minute. So what kind of processing is needed? It's just showing you that and comparing with others available on premise. So what we get the idea from here is that, okay, it's for machine learning and it's processing. TPU is a tensor processing unit. If any company has created some machine learning applications, they want some underlying power as well, so they can come here and use the TPUs and to really let their machine learning applications run faster, right? Okay, so if we have talked about that, so it does take us to the machine image. The machine image is ready, and on the three dots I can see create instance, but if I click on top of that, so well, all those we can just create an instance out of that. That's what we can do, but it's creating instance out of this one obviously would not be a good idea because it was not shut down with Sysprep. But you can create an instance. That's the only option that you see on the image, and that's the only purpose of creating an image in the first place, right? Okay, one thing I want to just check out from here, if I select that and click create instance, so when the instance does come here, it opens up. It shows that, okay, underlying image is that, source machine image is this, and you want to give a name here. It added the one here, and then there is region and zone, EC2, the hardware is the same, and container you want to put or not, you can just put some information. What I wanted to check was how many instances at the same time you can create. New VM instance from a machine image, create a single VM instance from an existing machine image, right? So it's a single VM instance that you can create. It does not actually show that, oh, you're selecting 5, 10, 20, 30. So it would be then referred to the command line processes where you can actually create multiple. So yeah, I'll just go back here. So we get the image. It's pretty straightforward. and TPU also for machine learning. Then there is migrate for ComputeEngine is there, and that is deploy infrastructure for quick and easy migration of virtual machines to GCP using migrate for ComputeEngine. So if I click the learn more here, so frictionless migration. So cloud migration creates a lot of questions. Migrate from ComputeEngine for ComputeEngine by Google Cloud has answers. Okay, a marketing page here. So let's go down. Migrate for ComputeEngine gives IT teams the power to migrate these systems to Google Cloud. So you're migrating away from your local data center, and you can do the reduce risks, improve agility, cut costs, save time. Yeah. Okay. And automatic and seamless adaptations, provisioning and right sizing. What I'm trying to check is, so okay, automated OS replatforming. Replatform your Windows Server 2008 R2 systems into Windows 2012 while you migrate. So that's crazy. That's good actually. Crazy good. Like so you're migrating and you want to actually change your operating system to 2012. You're kidding me? Anyway, so they're just saying that it's going to take care of include driver, agent installations, networking, licensing, and more. No manual changes to the applications as well. So that's saying that the whole migration is going to be really good. Learn more about migrating to Google Cloud. Migrate your ComputeEngine documentation. Data center migration full. Best practices for migrating VMs to ComputeEngine. Migrate with confidence. Okay, so these are some of the documentations there. If I go to this, and it says ESG quantifies benefits of. Okay, so these are just examples of some companies who did that migration from their data center. Obviously, oh yeah, there you go. So vSphere VMs. So spanning the globe with Google Cloud VMware Engine. Google Cloud VMware Engine explained, migrating your vSphere VM. So this is something that you don't see on Azure with this name, that Google Cloud has a VMware Engine, because 80% of the data centers, companies data center across the planet have VMware virtual machines, right? So Google Cloud VMware Engine explained, migrating your VMware vSphere VMs, migrating your resources and workloads to a cloud platform can seem daunting at first, particularly in a traditional VMware environment. Majority of the time you will see VMware environment. So if you have virtual machines in VMware Cloud Foundation, what is VMware Cloud Foundation? This is the whole cloud software of VMware that you can download on your own company hardware, right? Just like OpenStack, Azure Stack, you can download that cloud software on your own hardware. So you want to move virtual machines from there to the cloud. Yes, they support that. And when moving from on-premises to the cloud, one of the first things that many would-be migrators worry about is incompatibilities, okay, of compute, storage, and networking technology. So they're saying that suppose you're migrating from virtual machine from your data center, which is having VMware, and underlying CPU and RAM, you want them to be not incompatible when they are finally moved to GCP. So they're just saying that they have the VMware engine up there, so that engine will let your VMware virtual machines, the newly migrated VMware virtual machines, be it will let it smoothly run on Google Cloud data centers as well. So Google Cloud VMware Engine provides an on-premises VMware vSphere stack in a dedicated private cloud that runs VMware natively. So that's the statement that they are saying, that if you have your virtual machines of VMware in your local branch, in your on-premises, so those virtual machines, when they actually reach here, they will be still on top of the VMware platform, while that platform is being provided by Google Cloud. So if they are moving away from VMware ESXi host, ESXi hypervisor, and they're landing on GCP, they are still landing on a ESXi hypervisor there as well. So dedicated private cloud that Google has created for VMware, so you could So virtual machines will just see that, oh, I moved from an ESXi host to an ESXi host, which is a hypervisor. So that's pretty cool, right? So it will be just easier. And so you have a local platform of VMware. And now VMware 7.0 is there. That really is cloud ready. And second thing is now next VMware core starting on NetPlus would be 7.0 platform, right? Okay, so Chetan says looks like DC migration from on-prem to cloud data center. Exactly. Yeah, you're right. So the main thing is that you don't have to change a virtual machine, VMware virtual machine, to Hyper-V, suppose, or you don't have to change it to Google Cloud's virtual disk type and then put it there. So that never guarantees that your operating system and applications inside that virtual disk that you just change the format of would be intact, the application would not be broken, the OS would not be broken. So how about if the VMware virtual machine remains a VMware virtual machine up in GCP as well? So that's the same kind of collaboration VMware has done with AWS. It's called VMware on AWS, and then with Azure as well, VMware on Azure. So they also have created the similar data center environments that a virtual machine from a on-premises data center would land on a VMware on top of Azure or VMware on top of AWS. So pretty interesting. And so that is normally those who are still migrating, they would go that way, that hey, on the other side my OS and application must not break. So Google Cloud VMware Engine explained migrating your VMware VMs. So that's going to be definitely a very important point. And right. So I'll just down here. So that's a good. That's always a very important document to read. Okay, if we go back, so I'm just gonna click the back button here. Yes, cloud migration, and it just says that they deploy infrastructure for quick and easy migration of virtual machines to GCP using migrate for ComputeEngine. Required APIs, enable APIs. Suppose you click enable APIs. APIs is just your enabling connection of local VMware environment to the GCP, right? So APIs will just let you make that connection possible if it is enabled. And so other than migrate, we have tried the Azure migrate, and then we have tried the data email migration as well. So this is again, you must have a VMware environment and then migrate as well. So the big labs are dedicated for AWS and Azure. This seems like a much bigger lab. So I'll try to send some videos of somebody else doing that, and you can follow that if you're really enthusiastic about that. Committed use discounts. So you want to commit that, hey, I want to have the GCP ComputeEngine used for until 1 year, until 2 years. So then you will get a discount. Obviously, you get a 2-year plan, 1-year plan, you get a discount, right? Everywhere. So that's the same thing here as well. If we go for purchase commitment and create reservation, those two types are there. If I go to purchase commitment, to purchase a commitment, use discount, select one of the options. So commitment 1 -test, and then it is US Central, US East 1. And do you want to commit for 1 year, or do you want to commit for 3 years? Well, that's, and what do you want to commit? Exactly the same things in Azure and AWS as well. How many cores you want to you want to use during the 1 year or 3 year process, and according to that they're gonna give you a good price. So you want 30 cores there, or the price is coming up now, and you want 128 GB RAM there, so there's that price, and you want to add GPUs, you want how many local SSDs you want. So they're just gonna create a nice looking bill here, and the main thing is you want to commit for 1 year or 3 years. That's what we need to know. And the price is, if I go to 3 years, estimated monthly total would be 489, 730 hours per month, and 635. So 1 year is 635, 3 years is 489. Obviously long-term commitment gives you more discounts. Okay, so we get the idea, pretty straightforward. And then new license committed use discount, purchase a license committed use discount. So you want to purchase a license as well. For how long you want to use that, 1 year or 3 years. So pretty straightforward. It's more, I'm going to cancel out from here and create reservation. So if I click the create reservation here and go for -test, so use with VM instance, choose how to use this reservation when creating a VM instance. Use reservation automatically, select specific reservation, right? So automatically use reservation. So what are you reserving? Number of VM instances in which area? US East 1, suppose, and then I am suppose reserving 5 instances, and specify machine type. So reservation obviously is that you're asking Google Cloud that hey, you Google Cloud, you better give me all the time this much RAM, this much CPU, and if you miss that, then I need a reimbursement, right? If you're not able to provide for a certain time, oh, we don't have underlying CPU and RAM that you reserved, so then there's a reimbursement that normally Google cloud platforms, Azure and AWS also provide that. So you're reserving 5 instances, and you want some powerful instances there, or you want some other kind of. So if you go for, suppose I go for 120 GB RAM and 32 vCPUs, that's pretty powerful, right? And CPU platform automatic, or you want to go for some Intel Haswell generation, or Broadwell generation, Skylake generation, Sandy Bridge or Ivy Bridge generation. You want some specific processors there, generation types. Suppose the application you want to install and the generation that is needed or recommended, that this is heavy application, you want some specific Intel processor generation, you can select that. GPUs, how many GPUs you need, if it's cryptocurrency or blockchain you're going for, and local SSDs, how many you want, and it goes up to 24 disks. Suppose I select 24 disks, and then is it SCSI or you want NVMe? NVMe would even give better performance, and obviously I'm not that crazy to click the create button after that. So I filled up the whole basket and trolley here, and with the best configuration. But when you reserve, that's it. Then they have to really provide that reservation, and if they don't, then they have to reimburse. So the thing is, whatever you want to reserve, it's they're not actually asking commitment here, but you're asking this much of underlying hardware I need all the time. So that's what there's difference between the previous one and this one. So I'm just gonna click the cancel button here, and your top basket will yeah, if you click create, then the top basket, I still have actually $400, and I think you all have as well. So yes, that will be empty, definitely, the way I filled up that reservation. All right, so what we are trying to do now, well, there's storage, and your VM instances should be the VM instances, all the critical data actually is in those disks there If I click that storage, then it says group comes. If I click it says groups, then VM manager comes, and that then setting comes. So there's storage. In the storage, obviously, just like in AWS, it is EBS, Elastic Block Storage. In Azure, it is virtual disk, and here it is just disks. So if you click the disks here, remember that we have 3 instances, in fact 4 instances now. So those instances virtual disks are here, standard persistent disk, and so those you can create a disk and attach it to an instance as well. Suppose I go for actually the boss says, hey, that instance number 2 actually requires another 2 more terabytes of space. So can you add 1 more disk to that instance there? So what we can check here is, if we go to disks and then we go to create disk within a ComputeEngine. So I'm going to click that create disk. Once you click the create disk here, then dash your first name dash 11Dec2020. So we create a disk, and then there is standard persistent disk, SSD persistent disk, and balanced persistent disk. So it's all about performances there. And if we go to this, storage space is much less expensive for a standard persistent disk, and SSD persistent disk is better for random IOPS or streaming throughput with loader. So we understand that it's all about performance, and whichever you want according to whatever applications you plan to put on those virtual machines to which you're attaching this persistent disk. So replicate the disk within region, so that's pretty good. If you want to click the replicate this disk, so suppose this disk has a very critical data, then you can replicate it this within region, so not across the region. This is not cross region replication. So region, within this region you want further copies of these disks because it is really important for you. So US East 1B and US East 1C, these 2 zones will have copies of this disk. Pretty good, right? So you can create copies of that. Snapshot schedule. Use snapshot schedules to automate disk backups. Maybe it's that important. So you would go for create a schedule for snapshot. Keeps taking snapshot of this particular disk that you're attaching. So I'm going to click the create schedule here, and that would be schedule 1 snapshot dash 11Dec2020, and snapshot location. So multi-regional, yes, okay, you want to keep the snapshots of those disks in different region. Really, is that important? Some data is priceless, obviously, for the companies. Maybe they have the McDonald's recipe here, so that would be priceless, or Coke recipe. No, McDonald's recipe. So if you see that McDonald's recipe, if you search it, there's a YouTube video there that they put that recipe in a very, very huge safe, and that safe is so big and thick, so it's amazing. So that recipe is that important. Okay, anyway, so here multi-regional if you want to go for, and within United States based on source disk location, United States or Asia Pacific or European area. So this is what you can go for, or regional, you want to keep it regional. So if it's critical, decide. Schedule frequency, daily you want to take a snapshot, or weekly or even hourly you want to take a snapshot. Suppose we're going crazy on that and repeat every 8 hours, take a snapshot every 8 hours and send the copy across the region. Wow. And start time, whatever universal time you want to go for. Auto delete snapshots after 14 days. You want to keep those snapshots 14 days, or suppose I go for 365, every 365 days. If I click outside, oh, it accepts that. Really? Okay, I'll go root now. Now it tells me number of days after which the snapshot will be deleted must be an integer in the range of 1 to. Okay, so that's a lot of days. How come I breached that too? Okay, I did breach that. So okay, so but it's a lot of days still, it allows, right? So or delete snapshot after 999 days. So this would be really filling up your storage. You must be Bill Gates to do that. Okay, after you delete the disk, that uses the schedule, keep snapshots. After you delete the disk, that uses the schedule. So keep the snapshots. You deleted the actual disk, but you want to keep the snapshots or not? Or delete snapshots are older than 999 days. So I'm just doing it for fun. This is 99 days is crazy. Companies would not want to pay that much for the increasing storage. So it could be 20 days, 30 days after that they would want to get rid of those snapshots. And you know, the new snapshots will be there, right? So, okay. Integrate volume share or copy service, and that is VSS lets you create an application consistent snapshot of a disk while it's in use. That's what VSS does. You take a backup with VSS, and your whole virtual machine is working, and your applications are working. You don't have to shut down and take a backup, right? So that's possible with volume shadow copy service, or VSS. So snapshot of a disk while it's in use. So there's no need to shut down the instance or take the disk offline. Okay. You can only use VSS on disks attached to instances running. Oh, you can't do it on Linux? There's something that Windows only can do? Really? That's strange. I'm sure that Linux, if it is running and there's a big application there, and you should be able to take a backup or snapshot of that while it is running. You don't have to turn it off, actually. But it says Windows. Okay. So, and snapshot labels, you can just put those snapshot labels there that suppose it's sales department snapshot 1, sales department snapshot 2. Anyway, so we get that you can create a schedule for the disk that you're creating. Okay, that was a crazy schedule here, and we understand what are the options of the schedule. That's the main purpose of coming here and not actually creating a schedule. So I'm just going to click cancel here. And so we were creating a disk that we need to attach to an existing virtual machine. So there was a schedule here, and create snapshot schedules to automatically back up your, So Chetan says VSS is only for Windows, not for Linux. Oh, okay, cool. Oh, is that a question or is that a statement? I think it's a point you made, right? So yeah, here it is. Oh, it's a statement. Okay, cool. So the VSS is only for Windows. Okay. And source type blank disk or snapshot. You still want to create this disk from a snapshot. Well, we don't have a snapshot yet. So, and the disk size would be 500 GB. And if we keep going down, operation type sustained random IOPS limit 375 reads, 750 writes, sustained throughput limit megabytes per second. That would be 60 reads and 30 writes. So you can see that, suppose it's a database, it could be requiring much more than that. Suppose it's just some file server or some other application server that does not have a lot of traffic, then it's okay. Google manage key, yes. Please manage the encryption, decryption keys yourself, Google. Thank you very much. So I'm going to click that create button for creating a disk, independent disk that later I want to add it to another virtual machine. So I'm going to click the create button. So that disk is being created, and its copies should be in the same region but in different zones. So that's what we selected, and it's created. And its copies are in zone B and zone C. Okay, good to know. Well, that's one thing, and the second thing is if I select that, you do not have permissions to view the permissions. You do not have permission to view the permissions of the selected resource. Okay, so but what can we do with this disk when we create that? So if I go to the actions there, so it says create a snapshot of the disk, clone the disk. Okay, that's it. Create an instance, that is also there. If I go inside the disk here, so there's that disk monitoring, size, everything, all details are there, and there's create image. You cannot create an image of regional disk. Okay, because I create a regional disk. Manage disk, create snapshot. Yes, you can create an instance from a regional disk. Ouch. Okay, so there are repercussions if you want that disk to be copied regionally. So I'm going to go to VM instances directly and check that if I can add an extra disk. And in AWS and Azure, you were able to create a disk and attach it to a virtual machine. But here, if I go to the virtual machine, any of the instances here, I'll click that virtual machine here, and inside the virtual machine, I'll click the edit button when it lets me. If it lets me today, now, maybe. Okay. Oh, that was stateful machine. Okay, which had persistent disk. So okay, it's loaded now. Details. Oh, you know what? I'll go for another machine because I think I attached it to something else as well. But they're all stateful. Okay, stateful instance details. Really? The previous machine showed me that. Maybe it's a matter of time before it shows. Or monitoring. So I think I have to shut down the machine to really edit that, and while it is powered on, it won't be letting me do. Okay, you can't edit this VM instance because it's managed by a group. To edit this VM instance, first remove it from a group. Okay, so it's an instance group, that's why. Seriously? Okay, so yes, that makes sense. I'll go for VM instances, and because these were created from instance group, right? So I will go for a quick virtual machine creation here. That doesn't take a lot of time, and I'll go for US East 1 general purpose. Yeah. Debian. Yeah. Allow default access. I don't want HTTP. Create. So I'm creating an instance that is not part of a group. In fact, I created an image. Yeah, but I didn't create an instance out of the image. Okay, it's created, and I'll just click on top of this machine, and yes, I can add it. Okay, so I'm going to click the edit button and simply try to check if I can add another disk to a running machine. We can add disk to a virtual disk to a running machine in AWS and also in Azure. Labels, network interfaces, and network tags, and deletion protection, VM service, boot disk. Okay, and there's a when deleting disk, delete disk. Okay, device name, and add a new disk, attach an existing disk. Yeah, there it is. Well, I haven't clicked it yet, so I'm going to click that, attach existing disk, and then I'll drop down, and there's our disk that we created with a machine already powered on. So I'm going to click that, and it should be read and write. This is the one that we created. It's 500 GB, right? And yeah, I named this. That's the only disk that is appearing there anyway. And keep disk, yes. When deleting instances, no, delete disk when I delete instance. Delete the disk as well. And based on the disk name, yes, give a name, and then that's it. So done. And save. So yes, it was easy, and you can't add it to a machine that is part of a group, but you can add it to an machine. So when you create a disk, you can create it from a snapshot. You can create scheduling of its further snapshots. You can have a copy of those disks on different zones saved, and then you can attach it to a virtual machine as well. Okay, so I'm gonna click the VM instances, and well, yeah, the disk is attached. So if I go down to disks, so this was the disk that we created. Hide info panel. I'm just gonna click that, and instance 1, it is attached in use by instance 1. Okay, so that was pretty straightforward. Create disk and create snapshots. Now if I go to the snapshots, so then create snapshot schedule. We already saw the snapshot schedule, so I'm going to click that, create snapshot. And how do we create snapshot? We just give a name, your first name, snapshot 1, and then source disk. So it goes for all the disks that are available there, and whichever virtual machines disk you want to select. So I select some disk. Suppose I want to take a snapshot of this machine's disk. You want to keep it multi-regional, the snapshot, and suppose I say that yes. So there may be a network transfer fee if you choose to store the snapshot in a location other than the source disk. Okay, so yeah, multi-regional means a bit more charges, obviously. Add label, encryption type. So yes, that's it. It's gonna create this. So I'll click create. So the snapshot of some disk of some virtual machine is getting created, but we get to know that, okay, so we can just go for create snapshot and start and select any disk and create its snapshot. That's the same in Azure and AWS as well.
So in snapshot, like we have to keep the original disk, like you cannot delete, right? It is dependent.
Yes. So it didn't say that yes, if we delete the disk, that the snapshot will be deleted as well. So it will have to be separately deleted. Okay. So yeah, and snapshot schedule we already saw, but we can create it for any disk. So once the snapshot is created for a disk, I'm going to go inside the snapshot, and we can create an instance out of that snapshot, which is a snapshot of a disk. But that's all. We can't. But once the snapshot is created and you're creating a new disk, you can create that new disk out of a snapshot as well. So you can create a new disk out of a snapshot. You can create a new instance out of a snapshot as well. The snapshot is just a copy of a whole copy of a disk, right? So if we go for images, so
It is not same like snapshot, yeah, like depends on original copy, like we cannot
sorry again.
delete. So it is not like the snapshot of VM, like we cannot delete the original VM. So here we cannot delete original disk like that. It is depends on.
So it is snapshot is just a snapshot of a disk, and it's not the snapshot of the whole VM, just the disk itself.
So I'm just saying, concept of snapshot is like it is depends on original disk or not.
Oh, yes.
That's my question.
Yeah, totally depends on the original disk. Totally.
So if we are deleting original disk, then it is useless snapshot, right? Or we can.
Exactly. So the snapshot should be deleted later as well, but it is just an exact copy of the disk itself. Yes, the disk has to be there, definitely. So,
Yeah.
And there is images. So in images, well, that's a lot of images out of which you can create a create image yourself. But if I select, so this is location, disk size created, sorry, family, and it goes on. There's CentOS images, there's cost dev images. So these are different applications with different operating systems as well. But suppose we go for CentOS 8 and 10 GB drive and 1.6 GB RAM. So if I go for one image here and go inside the ready-made images from Google platform, so Google Container Optimized OS, kernel, Chromium OS, Kubernetes, Docker is there, so N2D, we did create that instance before. So if you want to create an instance out of this image with this specification, so you can create that. So these are just Google platform created images. You go to the details, check it out what it has, and then go deep learning, and some of the applications are there, some only have operating system there, and that's 144 images here. That's a lot, right? Express Windows 2016 images, Enterprise Windows 2016, Web Windows 2019. So yeah, SQL Server 2016. So SQL Server plus Windows installed. Red Hat images are there as well. So yeah, SUSE Linux is there. Microsoft images are there. So yes, images, you create instance out of that. Yay! So if I select that and click the create image, that's the same thing we did before. Yeah, so OS, we don't need to select the the operating system and the application that is already installed. Whatever else you need to select, like the underlying hardware and labels and encryption, that's it. So that's it. Source disk, image, cloud storage file, virtual disk, VMDK, VHD. Where is the source of that? So yeah, it's pretty straightforward, nothing complicated here, nothing very technical. If we go to instance groups, then we'll skip that now because we have created 2 times now instance groups, and we have gone through, and yeah, we've gone through, that's it. And we've created so many health images there as well, health checks there as well. So we have already done that. Then there's VM Manager, and VM Manager has OS Patch Management. So welcome to OS Patch Management. The OS Patch Management service can be used to apply OS patches across a fleet of GCE VM instances, Google ComputeEngine VM instances. It reports patch compliances across the VMs and automates guest OS patch update process to keep VM instances compliant. So suppose we enable the services here. If you have just enabled service, it will take some time, up to an hour, for the VMs to be scanned and displayed here. Wow. So it will take some time, up to an hour, for the VMs to be scanned automatically and displayed here to be able to execute patches and see detailed patch compliance reporting. The agent needs to be set up and activated. For most VMs, this means setting project metadata enable OS config to true and enable guest attributes to true as well. Review the user documentation for agent setup and other information. So it's kind of manual. It says that it's gonna scan, and in Azure normally the patch management is automatic, and it just says, hey, point me towards the virtual machine, and that's it. I'm going to deploy my agent, and it's going to communicate with me to give the statistics of the virtual machine, how many patches are done, how many are needed, how many installed successfully. So, well, it is enabled. The services of OS patch management are enabled. If you go for VM instances, no roster display. Yes, it says about an hour for it to scan the virtual machines, patch jobs, job name, start time, end time, targeted instances status. So it's just reporting scheduled deployments. last run, upcoming run, frequency, action. Okay. So if we go for new patch deployment here, so select VM instances. Okay, we can go actually manual as well. Select VM instances by filters or select VM instances manually. And yes, it hasn't scanned it, but individually select VM instances. You can select a maximum of 500 VM instances. Wow. If we click next, because it hasn't automatically detected that, will it go? Let us go ahead. Obviously not, because it has to detect the VMs first, and we have just enabled the services, so it will take about an hour to detect the instances that we have. Okay, so we are not going ahead unless instances are selected. It again says the other option is select VM instances by filters. VM instances matching the filters at the time of job execution will be selected. So you can create a filter of that okay, the VMs that has this kind of feature. So suppose the VMs, all the VMs that are inside East US 1B. So whatever instances in East US 1B, C, and D, suppose we select that as a filter. So grab them, deploy your agent, start OS patching for those. And filter VM, suppose you gave a name there. If their name starts with, suppose your first name or VM1 or sales VM, then only go for that, labels. So if you go for name prefixes and labels, that is deployment name, and that is test, and advanced patch configurations. By default, a standard system patch will be performed on all targeted VMs. You can override the default settings here. So for Windows, what do you want to do? Oh, I want to go for just all critical updates. Security updates, not definition, not driver, not feature, sort of spec updates. Okay. Suppose you want to go for this instead of the regular, it checks everything and whatever is missing, it puts that. You can just tell it, no, don't go for all that, but go for this. And for CentOS and RHEL, security updates and minimal updates for APT or Debian and Ubuntu. Anyone knows what's APT? Okay, APT, and select types of upgrade to perform. APT get distribution upgrade installs or removes packages that are needed to complete the upgrade. So, but this is when you go APT, it's for Debian and Ubuntu only. And Zyper, that's for Susie. APT is apartment, exactly. So these guys live in an apartment, while CentOS and RGL are rich people. They are in mansions there. So these guys are like me. They live in an apartment. Okay, anyway, so let's go ahead, and Zyper Susie is there, and with update and with optimal, I'll click next. Suppose I went for Windows, and then it says start patching now, or schedule the patching. So you can schedule the patching as well. Rollout options, advanced options. Okay, start now, suppose, and if we click next, one zone at a time or multiple zones. Wow, a lot of options there, right? So percentage of VMs, zone disruption threshold, specify the maximum number of percentage of VM instances per zone that may be disrupted by the patch job. So number of VMs, if they are maximum number of VMs are reached, that okay, out of 200 VMs, if 100 VMs are reached, then just keep them patching and don't go for more. So specify the maximum number of percentage of VM instances per zone that may be disrupted by the patch. So which number of VMs maximum you want to continue patching, and the others you can wait. Okay, 25% of the VMs are allowed to be patched at the same time, and then you can go for the next 25. That's what it says here. And you want to go one zone at a time or multiple zones, up to you. Next. And then post patch reboot option, default. Agent will decide if a reboot is necessary by checking all well-known signals on each OS. Always, the machine will reboot after the update. Never. So it's up to you. And pre-patch script. Run before patching starts, or if a reboot is required before the reboot. You run a script, suppose it takes a snapshot before the restart, right? Or any script just removes some of the unwanted files there. So it's that. So, well, after that it says deploy. So we don't have any Windows machine, but I just click the deploy button. And then the patch jobs looks like this. So you can go for patch deployment, and normally it's supposed to scan the instances. I would let it scan, and once they are all detected, then I would go. But what we saw there in the new patch deployment, those are the options that we have here in OS patch management. So we went through all the options already, but those are really neat, detailed options there. Okay, if we go, so that's VM manager, it manages VM. Okay, settings, metadata, zones, network endpoint groups. So if you go for metadata, so ComputeEngine metadata lets you specify key value pairs that are available to all VM instances. Remember that those key value pairs were there in AWS and Azure. You want to create separate metadata there that, okay, machines remaining branch, sales, and manager John, and so it's region East US. You want to create any type of metadata there, and you want to attach it to a disk, you want to attach it to a virtual machine. That always is an option of attaching a metadata. We can create that metadata directly when we are creating a virtual machine as well. So it's key value pairs that you can create as many as you want and attach it to any resource you want. Zones, and it just gives you how many zones have how many instances, and disks. So hey, our zone has US East 1 as Europe, US Central, US East. Correct. So 2 disks have been deployed in this zone, and 2 instances deployed in this zone. CD has 1 each. Okay, that's very good. US Central does not have anything, although I asked for a copy there. That's it. So that's a very good view of, you can see which zone has what in terms of instances and disks. Well, that's it. It's just a report. Network endpoint groups. So endpoint would be a network endpoint group. NEG is a collection of IP addresses that you can apply networking functions to, like load balancing, firewalls, and logging. If you're creating a HTTPS load balancer with backend containers, your NEG will be created automatically. So it just says that, hey, you have a collection of IP addresses that you want to connect to somebody else. So if I click the create network endpoint group, and then test and VPC networks in this project, and zonal, it is in one zone over the internet, and then VPC network, subnet, zone, default port 80. So network endpoints, you can add network endpoints after you create the network endpoint group. First you create a group here. It will create a VPC as well, VPC networks in this project, VPC networks shared with project. So we don't have any network of VPCs, but it's all about, you have a virtual machine with public IP, you have a branch with public IP, you have databases with public IPs. You want to collect those public IPs and call them as network endpoints so you can connect them to other VPCs. So normally endpoint is just one public IP that you can point to. So, well, I don't know why I can't resist. I'll just click create here. And network endpoint group is getting created. Normally private endpoint is what we say there in Azure. If I go to inside that group, add network endpoints represent your services, applications, load balancing, and diverse infrastructure, VM instances, containers in a standard manner regardless of their locations. If I go to add network endpoint, no instance exists. internal IP addresses as network endpoints. Add instances internal IP addresses. So, are you kidding me? And yes, it's the collection of IP addresses again. So added network endpoint list is empty. Deploy your application. So I'm just going to click the create button here, but obviously it says that I don't find any instances. So whatever instances are not connected to anything else as well already can be added here, but it does not find any instances. So it says again here, network endpoint groups represent a collection of network endpoints where each network endpoint is an IP port pair. So an IP address and a port. They can be used as a target for load balancing, allowing you to accurately load balance your services traffic across. So you're collecting IP addresses and you can connect it to the virtual machines as well. So, but it doesn't scan any. Those virtual machines are all connected to something to a default VPC or to the load balancer, right? I'm gonna cancel out from here. And wow, I've created some stuff there that I need to delete the whole project at the end. Operations. So, well, this is what we did. Operations are REST requests that affect resources on the global, region or zone level. So create a snapshot of this. Yes, we did that at this time. Done. So it's a report of what operations were done. Wow, that's a lot of operations I did today. Really? Is it today? 9 December. Okay, no, it's not today. It's the whole operation that were going on, and then some operations that were not done as well. Create instance was code exceeded. Yeah. So all the operations report here. Wow, with timestamp. Very good. Security scans. Security scan. Cloud Web Security Scanner can help you find security problems in your app so that you can head off potential attackers. So it will just find security problems in your app. So if you have any web app that you want to run security scan on, then you can enable API there and connect it to your app, and it's going to run. It's in the security, and it's a web security scanner for web applications other than all other security. So, well, yeah, we don't have any web app here, but you could have given that link and it would just give you a report about the security. Settings. And setting is usage export. Daily usage reports export as a CSV files to cloud storage location of your choice, and that's a daily usage report. Newly created resources like VM instances will be deployed to the selected region and zone. So, and skip confirmation messages, Microsoft license mobility verification. So just going for daily usage reports. Suppose enable usage report, and it says, hey, whatever storage are you using, which bucket you want to save the report on, about how many virtual machines you're, and what is the start, stop, and reset. Give me a report of all that and save it in the bucket which we did not create in the storage. Storage is the next topic, obviously, but cloud storage bucket you need to define here to get the reports of what instances you start, stop, and reset, right? So that's just the daily report of that you can send to your storage bucket. I'm going to cancel out from here. So this concludes the ComputeEngine topics. We've gone through all the all the options of that. Well, AWS and Azure, pretty much what is there is here as well. You just get to see the interface and the way it tries to work. So in next episode, we're going to go for storage and all the topics of that, right? And right now, what we can concentrate on this episode is that we can just go for the project, and we delete the whole project this time. Woohoo! Yay! Or yay! Okay, so what we can do is, since I created everything inside this project, And from now on, we're going to actually create every time new projects, and we can delete the whole project, which was we're supposed to do. And I'll go to the project level here, right? I'll go to the project level, and I'll select Z's project, which I was already there actually. I wanted to go to the project location, right? So dashboard. So I'm going to go to the cloud platform and home and the dashboard. So yeah, dashboard. Once we reach the dashboard, we're still in this project, right? So we can go to the project setting. There's a 3 dots here as well, but we can go to the project setting here. And seriously, add project to the dashboard. Hey, wasn't that very easy to delete that? Sometimes very simple things are out of my mind. And where do we delete the project? Hide card.
You can shut down it. Go to the project settings and shut down.
Oh, the project settings and shut down. Oh yeah, thank you. So that was select the project and go to this. No, right? Oh, I'm stuck again. Project settings.
So go to the project settings, like, go to the project, cancel it.
Yeah, this was.
Yeah.
This is it, right?
Yeah, go there. Yeah, go there.
Strange. That's where I was going first. And is it clicking for you?
Yes, I did already.
Hey, that's not fair. Okay, I'll go inside the project again and click the project settings. Oh, now it goes. So I was not really inside the project. I went to the dashboard. Oh, what?
It works.
Hey, what's going on?
So go to the 3 dots.
Oh, 3 dots is not showing anything. Hide card.
Or maybe.
You know what? I don't have permissions to delete this project.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I was messing with the permissions, and I need the permissions for that. So if I go for IAM permissions, oh, there was settings there as well. And this account I'm logged in from, and I'll click that and go to edit. And does it say submission owner of what? Owner of a project, but it doesn't actually say which project. So okay, I'll go to this project again. There was settings there. This is the organization level settings. Really? Okay, guys. Well, I'll just figure that out. Oh, there you go. Now the project setting somehow pops up. Okay, I'll shut down. Project ID is this, and shut down. Project pending deletion. Okay, guys. So see you this Wednesday. Yay! Bye bye. All right. Good night.
Thank you, Amir.
Thank you, Amir.
Have a good day.